Okay, there we go. Mic's now on. Jesus. That's so annoying, man. I don't know why my computer keeps doing that. Especially to OBS, it should not keep doing that, but whatever reason it does. Alright, Al. We are doing a we're gonna have a little bit of just a fun kind of just a recap kind of the season type of stream. We'll also talk about the Bulls' last couple of games here, which I know I didn't do post-game streams for those games, and I do apologize about that. But we're going to be talking about the entire Bulls season. I want to talk about just kind of like things we need to kind of remember throughout the year, because I think that some people kind of forget what happened in like the first half of the season. But we're going to kind of go over a couple things from that. We're going to go over the last couple of games from the Bulls, so against the Wizards and the 76ers. I didn't stream after both those games. I unfortunately had to do some stuff, so I do apologize about that. We're going to then preview the playoffs for the NBA, because I think this is going to be a humongous, this is going to be a really humongous, like, really fun postseason. And I really honestly don't know who I'm going to be choosing to go ahead and win the title this year, because I think there's a lot of good options, especially out west. Out east, unfortunately, I think there's only really two teams, with Lillard being out. But I do think that out west, though, it's going to be a very fun overall just kind of look to see like what's going to happen out west, because I think this is going to be something that we're going to really enjoy throughout this entire postseason. Just looking at all these matchups, we still don't know who the 7 and 8 seeds are going to be, obviously. Most likely it's probably going to be these two teams that are listed, the Warriors and the Grizzlies, but we'll see who ends up actually getting the 7 and 8 seeds here, as you know, the Kings or Mavericks somehow could sneak in randomly. But I'd be very shocked if the Mavericks did. I'll just say that for sure. I will also be going over my season awards. I'll go over my predictions that I had at the start of the season, and we're going to be going over like how good I was with my predictions in terms of the standings. I'll just say really quickly, my Western Conference predictions were awful. East was also not looking not looking good either. So I'm gonna look pretty stupid in the stream in terms of my overall predictions, but that's how predictions work. And last but not least, I made 5 predictions to start the season, right, for the Bulls. We're gonna be going over those 5 predictions. We'll bring up the video that I posted. We're gonna be going over those 5 predictions that I had at the start of the season, and yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of going over every single thing that we did to what happened during this NBA season. I think this was a very fun season. I know a lot of people talk about the ratings being down. I know a lot of people talk about that this season wasn't that incredible to watch, and I'm just like, I don't know what you guys are watching. Personally, I think this was a phenomenal NBA season, and I hope that people can look back at this year and be like, wow, like this was a great year. This was a great year for the NBA. And as much as I think that people don't want to do that, and they're so, all about talking about foul baiting, and which I do think is an issue, but or load management, for example, like I think that this was a great NBA year, and I hope that I can show you guys just how much I love this year. And so again, we're gonna, I think, just have a nice kind of fun stream with this. Obviously very different than post-game streams, so I hope you guys are gonna enjoy this. If you have not already hit the like button, please do. I know people are watching the VOD. Please hit the like button. If you're watching live, please hit the like button. It helps me out a lot. And we'll have some fun stuff to kind of talk about at the end here. So first and foremost, I want to just kind of preview what we were looking at in terms of the playoffs, and then obviously the playing game for the Bulls here. Playoffs, Eastern Conference has been kind of stagnant for a while. We kind of knew who the top 3 teams are definitely going to be. It was just interesting to see what's going to kind of work out kind of here. And we end up seeing the Milwaukee Bucks. They get the 5 seed, so we're gonna get the Pacers Bucks first round, which is gonna be interesting to see. The Bucks are on an 8-game winning streak. Giannis has been insane since Lillard has went out, but obviously Lillard's out, so I don't know how far the Bucks are really gonna go. If Lillard was available, I'm choosing the Bucks in this series, but Lillard is not available, unfortunately. So I don't really know what we're gonna be kind of looking towards that 4-5 matchup, but it's a pretty close matchup, at least in my opinion, even with Lillard out. I'm looking forward to this matchup here. The Detroit Pistons got the 6 seed, which we knew that was going to happen. That's going to be a very fun series between the Pistons and Knicks. Pistons haven't made the playoffs in a while. Cade Cunningham's finally turned into his superstar form, and And the New York Knicks, at least in my opinion, they're the frauds. I just have no faith in the New York Knicks, as good as a team that they are. I don't trust Tibbs to kind of make some good overall decisions. And then I also just, bro, the minutes for Tibbs throughout the season, man, I think all these players are going to be absolutely dead tired. And so I don't trust the Knicks, unfortunately, to win this series. But that's not me saying that I think the Pistons are better or anything like that. I just think that the Knicks are, they're not going to come in ready because of just the amount of minutes Tibbs played them. So we'll see if that actually does happen. It's going to be a hard series for the Pistons to win either way, but I do think that's going to be a fun matchup to look at. Cleveland and Boston are the top 2 seeds. Kind of knew that for a long time now. I personally do think Boston will be coming out of the Eastern Conference again here. I know it's always hard to go back to the finals after you just won it, but I do think that they will be coming out of the East, at least in my opinion. But we have to see who those matchups are in the first round. And so that leads us to the playing games here. And the Orlando Magic got the 7th seed. So, you know, there was a lot of thought like maybe the Magic are going to slip heavily, and they didn't. So Magic got the 7th seed. They had a very up and down season. When their 2 stars were out, they were playing better, and then their 2 stars came back and they played worse. Jalen Suggs being out definitely hurts them, but they eventually did get the 7th seed, which I think is actually pretty huge for them if they are trying to make the playoffs, and they're facing the Atlanta Hawks in that first play-in game. We'll see who wins this one. Obviously, the loser of this game would be facing the winner of the 9-10 matchup, and the Bulls are going to be facing the Miami Heat on Wednesday in Chicago. So Jerry Reinsdorf got his extra home game. Congratulations to Jerry. But 6:30 p.m. Central Time, we have the Bulls versus Heat on ESPN. We'll be seeing the Bulls try to see if they can win against the Heat yet again. They swept the season series 3-0. However, as we've all seen in the last 3 playing seasons for the Bulls, they have lost to Miami Heat in all 3 of those seasons. So we'll see if history repeats itself, or sorry, this is the 3rd year. Excuse me. This is the 3rd year for the Bulls versus Heat. The last 2, the Bulls have lost to the Heat. This is the 3rd year in a row where the Bulls beat the Heat in the play-in tournament. So I'm interested to see if history repeats itself, or 3rd time's the charm for the Bulls. So I'm going to be very interested to see who's going to be winning this matchup here. Overall, I know a lot of people are going to be like wondering, like, what do you want, Duncan? I made my stance clear. I think there's really no reason why the Bulls should make the playoffs. I don't really see the purpose of it. I know a lot of people keep talking about experience and playoff experience, but to me, it just doesn't make any sense. You're not going to win against Cleveland. I'm sorry. I think that if there was any chance for the Bulls to even have a shot, they needed to face Boston. But I don't see that even working out in their favor anyway. I think no matter what, the Bulls get wrecked in either series. Therefore, I don't really see a reason why the Bulls should be making the playoffs. It doesn't seem any sort of beneficial to them. Therefore, I do hope the Bulls lose this game, just for the sake of the franchise moving forward. A lot of people will be like, oh, it's such a hater, Duncan. They're like, how dare you say such a thing? Look, bro, I understand where people are when it comes to this Bulls team, but I just don't see where it's beneficial at all. You're going to go into the first round and get wrecked. At least in my opinion, going to the first round and getting wrecked is not good playoff experience, okay? I know everyone wants to say it is, but it's not, at least in my opinion. I just don't know why we can just, like, why can't we wait a year or 2 before Giddey gets more playoff experience? Like, Josh Giddey and Kobe White, if this is our backcourt of the future, which a lot of people think it is, both these guys have playoff experience. It's not like this is going to be like their first ever playoff experience type of stuff in their career, okay? We've seen both of them have playoff experience, and they've had limited success in both of them, all right? For both of them, excuse me. So, look, I understand everyone wants to talk about that. It's going to be good for the development. At least in my opinion, I'm like, look, if Josh Giddey gets his first playoff experience when he's 24 instead of 22 right now, I don't see what the issue is whatsoever. For the Bulls, I think you need to be in the lottery. If you make the playoffs, you're gonna at best you have the 15th overall pick. If you don't make the playoffs, then obviously you're in the lottery. You have a chance to move into the top 4. Bulls are gonna be tied with the Dallas Mavericks. There's a record for I think it's the 12th overall best odds, and so it's gonna be determined by a coin flip to see who's gonna get the best overall odds between those 2 teams. But either way, I would much rather still get the 12th overall pick or 13th over the 15th. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but like again, that little bit, it could matter. Again, once again for everybody, Buzelis was picked 11th, so I don't think Buzelis would have been there at 15, but who knows? And I think in this sort of draft, you want to be higher. So again, always want the chance to move up into the top 4. I know it's very slim, But either way, it's no matter what, it's beneficial to the Bulls. So I know a lot of people are going to be like, why are you such a hater of this team? I'm not being a hater. I just think that this team needs more young talent. And if you think that this team needs more young talent, then making the playoffs does not help them whatsoever. But I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. And so you have the right to your opinion. I have the right to mine. But that's that, though. So we'll see who wins this one. Once again, I don't know what the Heat's agenda is right now. There is the whole argument for the Heat that they should miss the playoffs because of their lottery or their pick protections on their pick this year. However, am just like, listen, I don't know whenever, like, Miami, since, you know, Spoelstra's taken over, they've never been a bad team. They've never gone on and actually, like, full out tanked any single year. They built up the team that went to the finals twice by drafting, you know, Bam at 13 and Tyler Hero at 13, if I remember correctly, or whatever it was around there. Wherever those guys were drafted, but it wasn't like they were high draft picks, right? So I always think that the Heat are always going to be trying to win. It's not like they're one of those teams that's like heavily rebuilding, so I don't really see why they would be heavily trying to lose, besides obviously trying to keep their pick here. So the Heat might actually be trying to lose this game, which, at least in my opinion, I think it would suck for us. But I always, no matter what, if the Heat are actively trying, I do trust Spoelstra. I do think that he's a better coach than Billy. That's not me saying that the Heat are a better team than the Bulls right now, but I think that Spoelstra is a better coach, and I think coaching in a playoff style format is very important, especially in a one-off type of game. So I'll be very interested to see who's going to win this game. We'll see how this one's going to go, if it's going to be history repeating itself, or if it's going to be the Bulls actually getting the time to beat the Heat in the play-in tournament for the first time. So guys obviously have to show up. Giddey needs to be healthy and playing, which we'll see if he is going to be healthy or not. Kobe has to show up, which he didn't really have that great of performance against the Heat in the third to last game of the season. So these guys got to show up if they're going to have a shot here. I do think that Matas Buzelis or Julian Phillips or Patrick Williams also has to have a pretty nice game. One of those three. And honestly, if I'm Billy Donovan, I am benching Patrick Williams. I'm being dead serious. So if Billy Donovan is actively going to be like, hey, we want to win this game, then I'm personally benching Patrick Williams. I would not be playing him, especially after the way Julian Phillips played against the Wizards. So yeah, I'm interested to see what Billy does. I'm interested to see what Spoelstra does. Will the Bulls fold under the sort of pressure of a game, as they are young, or are they actually going to come out and continue to play that they've been playing? Playoff style basketball is slower, and the Bulls have heavily relied on transition this season, which is great, but obviously there's a major shift in tempo this year when we get into the playoffs. So I'm going to be interested to see if the Bulls can continue their tempo moving forward here when it comes to keeping their identity in these sort of play-in type of games or playoff type of games. So that's my biggest thing I'm going to be looking at. So heavily interested to watch, and we'll see where the Bulls end up. But that is the Eastern Conference play-in and playoff kind of preview. I'm looking forward to some matchups. I think first round, like the 3 through 6 matchups, are very, very intriguing. After that, I do think it's just going to be chalk between 1-7 or 1-8 and then 2-7. I think this should be chalk, whoever is going to be those seeds. So I'll be interested to see what's going to work out for all of these teams. I do think the Pistons will beat the Knicks, but I'm going to look like an idiot once the Knicks make the finals, of course. So can't wait for that. Out west, man, the West yesterday was an absolute it was just a straight up like drama show, bro. Obviously every single team was playing yesterday, and every single game mattered for all these teams that are kind of bunched up here. And we knew that the Lakers got the 3 seed heading into the day, but I mean 4 through 7, we didn't know what was going to happen. If Denver lost and the Warriors won, then who knows what would have happened with all the seedings, right? But I think, got some really good matchups in the Western Conference in the first round. First and foremost, I think that the Nuggets and Clippers matchup is a great matchup. I am going to be interested in seeing how that's going to work out. If Kawhi Leonard is back and Harden can, actually show up once in the playoffs and not kind of go away, but just have a good overall performance, then I think this Clippers team can beat the Denver Nuggets, especially with the Clippers' depth being better than the Nuggets. Michael Malone obviously got fired, so we're going to see what happens there with Denver. They have Jokic, who could potentially be the MVP, but I don't think he's going to win it. But that I am just very concerned about the rest of the supporting cast for the Nuggets, man. That Denver Nuggets team, I just suddenly have less faith in Russell Westbrook after he's had a pretty good overall season. Jamal Murray, he seems better, but I also am just kind of scared about him moving forward. The Nuggets just seem to still have their same issues as even like after firing Michael Malone, which is not shocking. I mean, the team construct is kind of problematic, but I think that the Clippers can win this one. Unfortunately, I will say I am definitely drinking the Kool-Aid on this because when Kawhi Leonard first went to the Clippers, I thought that team was going to win it all that year. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were like two of my favorite players ever. And so I'm like, oh my God, like these two superstars just teamed up. They're the two best wings in the league, or two of the best wings in the league in terms of both two-way players. And I was just like, bro, they're going to absolutely just come in and dominate. And then they absolutely failed. We never got the matchup of LA that we were once promised, and we won't get it in the first round here either. But this Clippers team this year, with Zubac potentially being an all-NBA candidate this year and how well he's played, he's been phenomenal all season long. Norman Powell stepped it up in Paul George's absence. He's been very solid. Harden, though, as much as people want to look at like the field goal percentage, he's been very good. Harden has done a fantastic job all season long, and he's been the steady rock for the Clippers. Him and Zubac in that pick and roll has been kind of the bread and butter for them. And then Kawhi obviously has come back and he's played better. He looks really solid. And if Kawhi Leonard's in form, then I'm like, man, if Kawhi's here, like I think this Clippers team can beat anybody. Do I have them coming out of the West? No, but do I have them beating Denver? I could really see it. So I'm heavily interested to see if this is gonna happen. If this upset will happen. If the Clippers beat the Nuggets, but obviously it's a 4-5 matchup, so I don't know how much of an upset it is at the end of the day. Lakers versus Timberwolves. I feel very sorry for Rudy Gobert because he yet again has to meet Luka Doncic in the playoffs. I think the Lakers are just going to destroy the Timberwolves now with knowing that. However, I'm looking at both these teams. I see certain weaknesses in both these squads. Lakers obviously have a lack of size. The Timberwolves just overall, though, they lack interior scoring, especially if Randall's not playing his best. But the Lakers, obviously, defensively on the interior they're just small. They don't have a center besides Jackson Hayes, really, that's playable. And so my prediction, honestly, of what you're going to be seeing is that LeBron's going to be playing a lot of center in this matchup. So I do think that he might be guarding Gobert at some moments. Intentionally, and I think that you're going to see a lot of switching with the Lakers defense because I'm going to be basically daring Gobert to beat me inside. For obviously then the Lakers on offense, we know what Luka can do to Gobert. I know that's always like a meme, and Gobert doesn't deserve all that hate, but at the end of the day, Luka is just one of those guys that I don't care who it is in terms of the center out there. You could have the best defensive center of all time, but it's Luka Doncic at the end of the day, and he's just a straight up mismatch. So I think that this is going to be a very awesome series to watch. Anthony Edwards has to go nuclear for the Timberwolves, though. I think he has to be almost everything for the Timberwolves on offense because I don't know what other offense are going to be getting this series from the Timberwolves. Their defense has to be locked in tremendously. They have to lock in. But for the Lakers, I think it's honestly going to be a whole kind of like, I need to outscore this team. Defensively, I think it's just, you just kind of hedge your bets and be like, hey, Gobert, I dare you to beat us. We're just going to switch everything, play small. We're going to, run LeBron at center. And so if you run a pick and roll between Gobert and Ant Edwards, then it's just going to switch LeBron and Anthony Edwards. So I am heavily interested in this playoff series to see how it's going to go. Could go either way. I'm going to choose Lakers, though. I think that I have more faith in them being the Timberwolves right now, just because they got two of those guys on that team together. Now, Rockets and Thunder. We still don't know who they're going to be facing, but I think it's a pretty nice overall kind of bet to be like, okay, the Thunder are definitely facing, I think that you can make a nice bet that the Warriors and Grizzlies will be the 7-8 seeds. I just don't know which one's going to be which. I could see either team being the 7th seed, and I could see either team being the 8th seed. I personally, for my own personal just enjoyment, I do want to see the Warriors face the Rockets because I think that a stylistic difference between those two teams is going to be awesome. To see the Warriors with their small ball squad, heavy up-tempo offense, shoot a lot of threes, obviously defensively they've locked in with Jimmy Butler on the team, but that's a very different style versus the Rockets, who are a much slower team. They offensive rebound heavy. They slow down the game. They don't shoot a bunch of threes. They get a ton of offensive rebounds, and they play big. We're seeing lineups out there with Adams and Şengün together. Like that, to me, I want to see those two teams go at each other. Two completely different styles of teams, where you have the Warriors with their small ball, heavy up-tempo offense, shoot a lot of threes, play fast, versus the Rockets, who play a lot slower. They're heavy on the defense. They rely on their defense a lot to create their transition opportunities. And then on offense, they just heavily rely on getting offensive rebounds, playing bigger than the other team. That I personally really want to see. I want to see those two styles go up against each other. But for that to happen, the Warriors need to beat the Grizzlies first. I do think the Warriors should be favored in that matchup against the Grizzlies. But we've seen the Grizzlies in a game in Oracle where we thought the Warriors were just going to come out and win it, and they didn't win that game. So anything can happen, obviously, in the playing game. We never really know what's going to actually truly happen here, but I am very interested to see how that's going to work out. If the Warriors face the Rockets, I would love to see it. If the Warriors face the Thunder, I think it is unfortunately GG for Steph and Butler, but either team, obviously, I think facing the Thunder it's probably GG for them. But I would personally love to just see the Warriors style against the Rockets style, because that'd be intriguing. It's very, very intriguing to me. I hope to see it. Kings and Mavericks, I do think the Kings win that first game. Their chances of beating the loser, the 7-8 game, I think is pretty slim. But we have seen DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine put up pretty ridiculous performances in the playing games. Most notably, LaVine in Toronto was ridiculous. So he has that ability. It is just one game in that entire playoff series, right? So if you happen to win the first game and then you have LaVine or DeRozan explode in the second game, then anything's possible. I just don't really see that really happening. I think that the Grizzlies or the Warriors would be beating the Kings pretty easily in that matchup. But again, it is a playing game, so anything can happen. If Dallas beats the Kings, then I think the Kings seriously just need to blow up everything immediately. I already think that they really need to make some serious changes to that roster. But if Dallas beats the Kings, and yes, I know I'm aware Anthony Davis is available, but like they don't have Kyrie Irving. The Mavericks has some serious issues, but not to mention that once again, just the bad juju around that organization. The Kings need to beat the Mavericks just for their own mental sake. The Kings don't beat the Mavericks, then they have some serious problems on their hands. So I already think they have a lot of issues, but if you don't beat the Mavericks right now in their current state, you need to seriously blow up the team and potentially fire everybody. So I think the Kings do beat the Mavericks, though. They have home court advantage, and Sacramento's awesome in playoff atmosphere. So I think the Kings are going to beat them, but then you got to go and beat the loser of the 7-8 game to get into the playoffs, which is just to go ahead and face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round, which is just asking for death, unfortunately. Out west, man, I mean, I do think that there's a lot of teams that can come out. The Rockets have been very surprising all season long. There is obviously that chance that they can come out of the West. If the Warriors, at least in my opinion, where they don't face the Thunder in the first round, I think that there is a chance for them. If the Timberwolves happen to beat the Lakers, or the Lakers beat the Timberwolves, I think both those teams could come out. And then obviously with Denver and LA with the Clippers, I mean, there is obviously the chance for either of those teams. I unfortunately think that both those teams are on the lower end in terms of where I could see them. I would probably place the Timberwolves in that sort of category too, but anything's possible out west. I think there's gonna be a lot of crazy matchups throughout this entire playoffs out west, and I'm looking forward to watching all these games because it's gonna be a lot of fun here. So heavily interested to see who's gonna be coming out west. If I had to choose, though, it's Oklahoma City, at least in my opinion. I do think this is OKC's year to come out of the west, and I think that we'll be seeing them against Boston in the finals this year. That's my prediction. I think it's gonna be a very fun series overall. Both those games so far in the regular season have been very fun. So I want to see that matchup personally. If I could kind of choose who I want to see, it'd be those two teams meeting in the finals for the championship here. But that is my predictions for the playoffs if you're wondering about this game here, I haven't made like a full-out prediction here yet. I'm just gonna go ahead and say history repeats itself and the Bulls lose. But I've been very wrong this year in terms of my predictions of when the Bulls win or lose games. So if you want to go ahead and make a bet now, go ahead and make a bet that the Bulls win, because I see the Bulls are going to lose. But we'll see. TP, we're jumping in the chat. What's going on, Z over? I was watching the Hawks and WBJ, so I'm getting caught up now. Appreciate the AV Breeze. Your thoughts on the Suns firing Coach Budenholzer? I think James Jones needs to go. New coach for 3 straight years. Another championship coach fired. The Suns fired 2 of them, Vogel and Budenholzer. Yeah, bro. I mean, Christopher, the Suns are an absolute mess. Here's my only thing about the James Jones idea about firing him. James Jones was pushed by Ishbia to go ahead and get Bradley Beal. If you ask James Jones, like himself, he did not want Bradley Beal. He wanted to not, spend all the rest of his assets to go and get Bradley Beal. He wanted to spend those assets to kind of fill out the rest of the squad. Right, he did not want to go and get Bradley Beal. His owner, though, his employer, decided like, no, I want Bradley Beal, and so hence we got the push for Bradley Beal from the Suns. They made the trade, and they locked themselves into hell for at least the next 3 seasons. So, at least in my opinion, I don't think this is on James Jones. Do I think that Budenholzer deserved to be fired for his performance with the team? No, absolutely not. I don't think that Budenholzer deserved to be fired. That's not me saying that Budenholzer is a great coach or anything. I've talked about his time with the Bucks, even though they won the championship. I think Budenholzer had his flaws with the Bucks. Even the year they won the championship, I felt like it was just more so Giannis was like heavily carrying the run that year. And Budenholzer was not making good adjustments throughout the entire playoffs, especially against the Nets. And they just happened to win it because Giannis is insane. And, it all worked out for them in the end. But then, you fired Budenholzer 2 years later. I'm like, hey, that was kind of deserved, at least in my opinion. But even with that being said, I don't think Budenholzer deserved to be fired for his performance with that team, because that team is garbage. I unfortunately just think that Suns team, because they did the trade for Bradley Beal, they are stuck. They also made the trade with the new tax aprons coming into play. That did not help them either. So, I unfortunately just think that the Suns are screwed. And it's because their owner pushed for that sort of move. I know a lot of people are looking at that as just like, oh my God, like, if the White Sox get, they're suddenly owned by the Ishbias, then the White Sox are also screwed, but that's another story for another day. I respect the fact that they were aggressive, but I also don't like the fact that the owners decided to make decisions or basketball-related decisions. I do think that James Jones should have been fully in charge of that team and should have been allowed to just not trade for Bradley Beal. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about it. I think they're going to be trying to trade Kevin Durant. I just don't know who's going to take him. Oddly enough, if the New York Knicks are like a first-round exit, they might be one of those teams, but they just don't have any picks anymore because of the Mikal Bridges trade. I don't know who, honestly, is going to be a team that's going to want Durant, assuming that, Indiana does, trade for him. So, yeah, I don't know. I genuinely believe, because Bradley Beal's the no trade clause, and he's not going to get traded anytime soon. And because Durant is just going to be so, one, expensive with this contract, but number 2, expensive in terms of giving up assets, I think the Suns are just screwed. I think the Phoenix Suns are genuinely screwed for the next decade, because they don't have any control over their picks. Durant obviously is older, Beal's older, and Booker, he's in his prime now. So, I don't know what the Suns are gonna do. Honestly, Christopher, I think they are genuinely screwed. I think that they are unfortunately in hell. And with their current situation with their salary cap, and again, that's just because of the whole second tax apron, which is stupid. I hate it, but they just can't make any moves. Their big offseason signing this last offseason was Tyus Jones, and he clearly didn't turn into much of anything here. So yeah, man, I don't know what they're gonna do. They have to sacrifice some of these other contracts, which Royce O'Neal has been solid for them. So I think they're screwed. So they have to basically beg a team to take Durant and give assets for Durant. not a lot of assets, just some assets, and then you need to try to use those assets, try to get Beal's contract off the books. So I don't know, trade him back to the Wizards or something like that. And then hopefully that's going to clear up enough cap space for you so that you could actually make some moves again, get yourself out of the second tax apron. And then at that point, I don't know what you do, but yeah, I think unfortunately they're screwed. But the Bulls win it all, just speaking into existence. If the Bulls win it all, like I said earlier, I will be closing this channel. If the Bulls go ahead and win the entire finals this year, I will be closing this channel. I already said that if they're going to win the first round against Cleveland, if they happen to make the playoffs and they win the first round against Cleveland, I'm already saying I'm closing this channel. I won't be making any sort of Bulls content anytime soon. But if the Bulls win it all, I'll be happy as hell, but I will also be like, what the hell is this league? Like, that means everyone must have gotten injured. That means like every Eastern Conference contender had all their legs broken, or somehow the NBA gods just decided, yeah, it's time for the Bulls this year, and they go on like a historic run. But I will genuinely be closing this channel if the Bulls win it all this year. I will genuinely be closing it. Going on, Taro King. So don't get excited at playoffs basketball. Bro, I'm glad that you're excited. I am very excited, bro. I'm very excited for playoff basketball. I cannot wait until Friday hits because that's gonna be awesome. Is it Friday? I actually forgot what day it is, but I believe it's Friday. No games, yeah. So first day is. Oh wait, no. Sorry, I forgot. That it's still the playing games on Friday. Okay, is it Saturday? Yeah, it's Saturday. All right, I cannot wait until Saturday. Saturday is gonna be awesome. Saturday and Sunday it's playoff basketball all day long. So the first 2 days of the playoffs is just straight up. It's just from noon until the end of the day is playoffs. So I cannot wait for these 2 days to start. It's gonna be great basketball all day long throughout the weekend. So I cannot wait for that. And I can't wait to just see what's gonna happen in the offseason as well. But first things first, playoffs, and I think this is gonna be a fantastic year. I will not be shocked if there's a lot of upsets in terms of seedings this year. And I think there's gonna be a lot of fun watching all these teams because I think there's a lot of different styles that you can kind of look at throughout the league. And we're gonna see which one's gonna end up being the best. A lot of great players are healthy, right? I know Lillard's out, unfortunately, which really sucks, but I think, honestly, if we're just counting Lillard, like, I think that's kind of like the only big guy that I would say is out, unless I'm, like, forgetting someone that's very important right now. But in terms of, like, overall health heading into these playoffs, man, like, everyone is healthy. Even Kawhi Leonard is here. So, knowing that, man, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I mean, I know Kyrie Irving's out, but I don't think the Mavericks are making the playoffs here. But assuming the Mavericks don't make the playoffs, like, everyone should be here. So I'm heavily looking forward to it. I guess Jalen Suggs is out for the Magic. There's also that. But I'm really looking forward to it, man. I think this is gonna be a fantastic year just to watch the stars go at it. And I cannot wait. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun this year watching the playoffs. Expanding past mistakes much more easily in MLB. You also can't mortgage your future with picks and trades. I mean, yeah, that's the one thing with the MLB for sure. Saturday's the start of the playoffs. Friday is the last day of the play-in tournament. So it's gonna be the loser the 7-8 game versus the winner of the 9-10 games. So Friday is the last day of the play-in tournament. That will determine the 8 seeds, and then Saturday is the first day of the playoffs. You'll see the 3 through 6 seeds all go against each other that day. Please let me know about James Jones. Take back what I said. I said after hearing your thoughts. Maybe it's the management above him needs to go. Plus, I agree with you about Coach Bud. Yeah, man. The problem with James Jones, like, I'm not saying that James Jones is like, you know, I'm not saying he's completely like you should be let off scot-free about all this or shouldn't take any blame. He's made some interesting decisions overall. The problem is though is just that you're really hampered. Like, if you spend this much money into the second tax apron, you just have no wiggle room. Like, everyone that you sign has to be on minimum contracts. You can't sign any buyout guys. You have no mid-level exception to spend. Like it's very, very, very limited. And then the only thing that they could do is make trades, which even those rules are limited, right? If you're in the second tax apron, you can only take 100% back of what you send out. But then they have no draft assets. Like they traded all their picks away in the Durant deal, and then they traded all their second round picks away in the Bradley Beal deal. So yeah, as much as I want to blame James Jones, I unfortunately think I have to blame the ownership first. And yes, that makes me scared about the White Sox future a little bit, but I'm kind of with AV Breeze on this. I'm just like, I think that the like you can't like mortgage your future away like in terms of trading picks with the White Sox. But anyway, I think that the ownership really pushed James Jones to make that trade, and it's just like, oh boy, if ownership just didn't do that, I think the Suns look a lot better. I'm not saying they're contenders, but I think they look a hell of a lot better right now than what they're currently at. So yeah, bro, I don't know what the HBOs are looking for. I know that they're going to be looking towards James Jones to try to get them out of the situation, but can they even get I don't even know if the best general manager in the world can get them out of the situation to kind of help them reset. I honestly think that the Phoenix Suns are screwed for the next decade, because like the only guy that I think, at least in my opinion, has value is Booker. The problem is though, is that if you trade Booker, then you're rebuilding and you have no control over your picks when you're rebuilding, right? All your picks are heading out, or they're going to be swapped with the other team. So with knowing that, right, it's like, why would you rebuild if you have no control over your picks? So I think Booker's here to stay until they, get control of their draft again. But either way, I'm just like, I don't know how you're gonna have any sort of way to get out of this situation. I think you're kind of screwed. I honestly think that the Suns are just in a horrible spot. So yeah, I don't usually give general managers the benefit of the doubt. I usually put all the blame towards them, because I think coaches are, as we've seen recently, the coaches are the scapegoats a lot. But and Budenholzer definitely was a scapegoat in this situation, but I don't want to blame James Jones too much, because I think he's in a really rough spot right now. And so if James Jones gets him out of this and helps him reset and be back in contention in like 2 years, then he might be the smartest person of all time, because I don't even know what I would personally do right now. And that's, not even if I was like not following all the trade rules or anything like that, I honestly think that the Suns are just kind of screwed. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with this offseason, bro, because they desperately need a team to like say, hey, yeah, we want Durant. And I'm just like, what team's gonna want a 36? Is he 36? God, how old is Durant at this point, bro? Like, what team is actually gonna go and want a like 36 or whatever Durant on that big of a contract, and also give up all the assets for him? I at least, even if like I'm like one of those teams right now that's like kind of in the middle, like I always just kind of say like Indiana, I'm like, I'm not trading for Durant. Like, there's no shot. There's no way in hell that I'm trading for Kevin Durant. So I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll take KD. I don't even know if Miami would take KD, because the problem with Miami is just the contracts again, right? Like that's kind of, again, this is the whole issue with this whole thing. But oh, actually, I forgot Wiggins was there. I guess it is possible. Let's see. Is this actually doable? And this is not for next season, so we have to keep that in mind. It had to be next year's contracts. But I mean, I think this actually would work. Yeah, I think money wise, why is this second team? Is this? Oh my God! It's literally. Wait, what? Cap difference, incoming cap. Dear Lord. So even this trade right here, which obviously I don't know if it's going to work out like for next year's contracts, which we'll quickly look and see if it does work. But I mean, even for that trade does not work, because the Phoenix Suns would be acquiring $21,000 extra in this trade, and it would not work because of the tax apron. Like, you want to know why I hate this whole CBA? Is because of this sort of stuff. Like, the 21,000 difference should not be the reason why a trade like this shouldn't work. But because the Phoenix Suns are so far in, or the Phoenix Suns are in the second tax apron, you cannot take back more money than you send out. And in this sort of trade, they're taking back $21,000 extra in this trade, and because of that, it doesn't work. Like, that's how stupid the tax apron is. I genuinely hate it. But yeah, I mean, that's why, like, this is the reason why, like, even little stuff like this right here is just like, it's not gonna work. I'm sure we can find a way to make it work here. It's just that's honestly stupid. Sorry, I meant to go to see the Miami Heats. Oh. Uh-oh. Sorry, my YouTube glitched. Am I still here? Can you guys give me a thumbs up emoji if I'm still alive? My YouTube page just went black. I'm like, whoa, that's not what I wanted. Sorry, hold on, I wanna go to Miami, in their contract situation. 28, and then it's non-guaranteed, so obviously we can do that before it gets guaranteed. All right, thank you, AV Breeze, I appreciate that. Let's see, how much is Durant making next season? Because it's more, 54 million. I mean, it might be doable, honestly. I just don't know. Okay, but either way though, like, let's instead of it being, I guess, Rozier, we'll just make it Duncan Robinson. Does this work for Miami? Okay, this does not work still. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on, I forgot to take out Rozier. This fails for Miami because they're a first apron team. Or they would be in the first apron, and they're hard capped at the first apron for now. But obviously, this wouldn't matter in the off season. Yeah, bro. It's so stupid, man. It's genuinely so dumb. Would this help even it out just a little bit? Yeah, bro. I want to die. Obviously, you're not gonna trade Chloe here. Yeah, I'm really annoyed. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Miami is the team, and so you'd have Durant, Adebayo, and Hero, which isn't bad. That's not horrible. They have some draft picks that they can go ahead and send, and you know, if they happen to lose the playing game against us, or if they win the first game or lose and then lose the second one, they could potentially package whoever they pick in the deal as well. Yeah, I guess there is a world where it does work out. It's just the money is so hard to work with because of the second tax apron, and that's the part that really sucks. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be heavily interested though. If James Jones figures this out, man, then I think the Ishbias need to give that man like a significant raise. If he's able to get them out of hell, then oh my god. I give you a major round of applause, man. You deserve the biggest raise in the world if you can figure out a way to get the Suns out of hell. Good job, bro. That's all I'll say. That'd be one hell of a job if he's able to figure that part out. Good on Viper Strike. Appreciate you checking in. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. I sincerely do appreciate all the likes this year on streams and on some of the videos. So thank you guys so much for this season. It's been a lot of fun. All right. If you are just joining in, I did my recap of kind of preview the playoffs. So if you want to go and kind of see kind of my overall thoughts on some of the first round matchups, you can go back on the VOD and kind of look at it. I wasn't just to kind of just say who I think is going to be coming out of each conference. I think Boston comes out of the East, and I think OKC comes out of the West. I think the West, though, is very up for grabs, but if I had to make a choice, I think OKC comes out of the West here. And so I'm going to be really looking forward to see who's going to be coming out of each conference. I unfortunately just think the Eastern Conference is just two teams. It's just Cleveland and Boston. But out West, bro, I mean, I think it's really up for grabs. So really looking forward to the playoffs this year because of that, especially in the Western Conference. So looking forward to the playoffs this year. I already previewed the Bulls Heat game. I did say I think the Heat win it, but you know, if you're a betting man, go and bet for the Bulls to win, because I've been wrong this year a lot. So go bet against what I say. With that being said, I want to talk about the last couple of games for the Bulls here, and then I want to go over what I predicted at the start of the season, and then kind of look at how well I did. I really think that we can go look back and be like, wow, like that, man, you were completely wrong about this, or you were completely right about this. So we'll look back at my standings predictions from the start of the season. and we'll go back and then also look at my 5 predictions that I made for the Bulls as well. So I made a video for the start of the season. It was my 5 predictions for the Bulls this year, and we'll go ahead and look back at that video to see what I got right and wrong. First and foremost, I do have to say, just because of what's been going on, I was not able to watch this game. I was working in the middle of this. I did have someone record it for me, so I do appreciate that. I still haven't watched this, and I don't know if I really ever will. I probably will though, just for the hell of it. But have not really seen a single lick of this game at all. So sorry about that. I did go and watch the Wizards game. I did watch this one, so I missed most of this one, but I did go and watch this one. Bro, Julian Phillips looked incredible in this game, and it honestly has just pretty much just it's bad of me, but I said at the start of the stream when no one was really in here that I think that Billy Donovan should be benching Patrick Williams in the playing game if he truly wants to win. I think he should just bench P. Will, because I think Julian Phillips in just this game alone showed you that he should be the guy playing instead. In a playoff sort of game, if Patrick Williams just does not have his 3-point shot going down, then I need energy and I need defense. And I think that Julian Phillips is going to provide that more than Patrick Williams. So, I'm just so against P. Will right now. I'm so sorry to all the P. Will supporters, but man, I just don't believe in him. I understand that this is against the Wizards, and so everyone's going to be like, well, Duncan, like Patrick Williams performed against the Cleveland Cavaliers regulars when he was the main guy out there. I'm like, okay, fair. But in this game, and I know they didn't have Giddey, but I saw Julian Phillips in this game put up 23 points, a career high, put up 9 rebounds, and he's playing with Kobe White, with Kevin Huerter, with Nikola Vucevic, with Matas Buzelis out there. And I'm just like, why can't Patrick Williams do this? Like, if Julian Phillips can do this, right? Like, if Julian Phillips can do this when most of the regulars are playing, I'm aware Josh Giddey was out this game, but if Julian Phillips can go and do this and have that incredible third quarter that he had, I'm like, why can't Patrick Williams do this then? I don't need this every game. I'm just asking the question of, like, why haven't we seen Patrick Williams get to 23 points this season when everyone is playing? Hell, he did not score. Like, the most points Patrick Williams scored in a game this year was 21 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay? Julian Phillips in this game alone, and again, I'm aware it's against the Wizards, but Julian Phillips in this game alone, he had a higher season high than Patrick Williams, which Patrick Williams set his season high last night, or the previous game against Cavaliers. So it's just like, I just can't. I at that point, I'm like, okay, yeah, if I'm Billy Donovan, I'm obviously running the starting lineup, assuming that Lonzo's not going to play, which he, right now, Casey Johnson said he isn't, and no Trey Jones either. So you're running Giddey, Kobe White, and Kevin Huerter with Buzelis and Vucevic to start. But if I'm bringing anybody off the bench in terms of the forward position, I am bringing Julian Phillips. I am not bringing in Patrick Williams. I'm sorry. P. Will just has not earned it. He, like, Julian Phillips, and I'm not saying Julian Phillips has been impressive either this year, but he right now has shown me more, and I have more faith in his energy and his athleticism and defensive ability in a one-off game to go ahead and give me more impact than Patrick Williams. So I already know Billy's not going to go and do that, because he's been trying to defend P. Will. He's been, trying to say he's been putting him in different situations, and I know Patrick's had a weird year, but if it's up to me, I know who I'm personally choosing off the bench. So interested to see how that's going to work out. Yeah, Buzelis yet again looked really good. 3 blocks in this game. I was very happy with some of the blocks he got. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. I really didn't eclipse Leonard healthy moves. I mean, yeah, if Kawhi Leonard is healthy with Harden looking good and Zubac potentially being an all-NBA center, then, oh yeah, I think they have a chance. I don't personally put them higher than, like, maybe the Rockets or maybe even like a team like the Warriors if I think that they could go on a run. But they're there. Like, they're definitely there. So we'll see. 36.1 ending 3-point shot for Matas is not impressive, but I'm happy for sure. He is getting more accuracy, he gets more minutes. Honestly, Viper Strike, I'm actually impressed because I did not think he'd be ending there for the season. I thought, especially after he kind of hit what I thought was the rookie wall, that percentage was going to be like 34 or 33 at the end of the year, but he ended at 36%, which is honestly, that surpassed my expectations personally. So yeah, I'm really happy with how Buzelis was able to increase that 3-point percentage to end the season and throughout the entire year, man. I mean, he's shown me enough, right? It's really good. Actually, that's very impressive for Matos. The questions about his shot preseason. Yeah, there was definitely the questions, and then I think his struggles, like in the middle of it was middle of March, right? Or you can say the beginning of March, like that when he hit that wall, I was like, oh boy, like, you know, he showed me enough for the season where I'm not like that concerned moving forward, but I wouldn't have been shocked if like suddenly his percentage dropped heavily. And so to see Buzelis, yeah, end at 36% is great. Unfortunately for him, he did not like suddenly like rack up like a ton of blocks, and I think he did play in all 82, right? Or sorry, 80, excuse me. I forgot it was 80. But he did not get to 1 block per game. He ended at 75 blocks for the season, which is incredibly impressive that in itself. The fact that he only started 31 games, he played in 80 games total, and he averaged 18.9 minutes per game, and he had 0.9 blocks per game is incredibly impressive. So at the end of the day, we're looking at in terms of totals for him, he hit 96 threes, he had 75 blocks. That's awesome, right? That is a very, very good kind of base to build off of. So I'm very happy with how Buzelis ended the season with his total stats. There's a lot to kind of work with here, and I'm looking forward to it. Big thing here is just, I know that this is not perfect to look at, but his per 36 numbers are incredibly promising. And so if you take his overall kind of stats that we look at in general, and then we go the per 36 averages, okay, we're looking at 16.4 points per game. We're looking at 1.8 blocks and 0.7 steals, so 2.5 stocks for Matas Buzelis, which is fantastic. 6.5 rebounds is good, and then, you know, if he's hitting 36% of his threes and he shoots 6 threes a game, then he's hitting 2 threes a game. So 2 blocks a game, a steal, and 2 threes a game. Like, look at what we're looking at right now. That's fantastic. So already and I already think that these numbers are already pretty low for him because it takes into account the amount of minutes he averaged, and then his overall stats for this season, which again, he only started in 31 games, so this number could have been much higher than before. But knowing all that, I think that this might be on the lower end for him for the per 36 stats. So I'm heavily looking forward to with his stats moving forward, man, because this is incredibly promising. If you told me that this is going to be his per 36 numbers at the end of the season, I would have been like, oh my god, like that's awesome. I can't believe that we got that. Like that's incredible. I would have been ecstatic. So to see this at the end of the season is great. If you want to see how bad it is to Patrick Williams, okay, and I hate to do this, but I mean, we have to do it. Like, Patrick Williams for any of his seasons, okay, I mean, his overall stats this season is not great at all. As you can see, Buzelis almost averaged the same amount of points as P. Will. P. Will averaged more minutes per game. Everything is just bad across the board for Patrick Williams, unfortunately. And then you want to look at his per 36 numbers, not great. But even in Patrick's best per 36 season, Buzelis has already passed it. Like, it's not even close. Buzelis more blocks, not more steals, but more points, more rebounds, okay, and just better everything. Even better in terms of overall threes made per game. So it already just shows you like how much Buzelis in terms of his projection as a starter is just so much better than Patrick Williams already. I know it's a low bar to clear, but it's just showing you how much we have been begging for production at the forward position, and we're finally getting it. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Can't wait. So Blazers game, it kind of just showed me I'm playing Phillips. Buzelis and Phillips together look pretty all right. So if we need to run that lineup out there, like, hey, don't be hesitant to run that lineup out there. I personally am not going to be bringing Patrick Williams off the bench anytime soon unless it's necessary. So at least that's just my opinion if I'm Billy Donovan and trying to win the game. So yeah, with that though, with the Bulls winning these last 2 games, the Bulls ended this season with 39 wins, which is the exact same amount of wins they had last season, which is insane because there was, at least in my opinion, when I started when I went into the season, I'm like, there's no way in hell the Bulls are winning 40 games. And they almost did it. They almost got to it. And so I do apologize to all the doubters that said 40 wins. They almost did get to it. Unfortunately, they did not get to it. So in the end, I guess I still win. But I cannot believe they got to 39 wins. Like, that is genuinely shocking to me. Obviously there was a lot of luck involved with the Giddy game winner, and then a lot of teams kind of just like, yeah, we're just gonna kind of tank here at the end. But either way though, they still got to 39 wins, which is just insane. Something I was not expecting at all for the Bulls this year. So props to the players for proving me wrong, which is going to lead me into my prediction video for the season. Okay, so this is a video that was made before the start of the season. I believe I posted the first opening night for the Bulls before they faced the Pelicans, and I made my season predictions, and then I made my overall predictions for the record and everything like that, and then I made my standings predictions for the Eastern Conference. But then I also made 5 predictions to start the season, and we're gonna go ahead and look at that right now. So I'm gonna lower the music just a tad bit, or actually no, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna show the video. I'm not gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna have you guys listen to myself again. Or I honestly just don't want to listen to myself. All right, so really quickly, again, here's the preview. Again, I had how many wins the Bulls got. Or my prediction. I predicted what seed for the Bulls, and then I had 5 predictions for the year. Okay. So here is what we ended up with. So I predicted the 11 seed for the Bulls. I was completely wrong about that. Bulls got the 9 seed. So not too far off, but I also had the record being much worse than 39 wins. I had 31 and 51. Now, if you want to go back and look at the overall standings for the Bulls, okay, throughout the year, my prediction was looking pretty solid when the Bulls went on that horrible kind of run in the middle of January where they were losing to the Hornets and they lost to the Wizards. That prediction of 31 wins was honestly looking really solid. Then also when the Bulls traded Zach, and the Bulls went 4 and 11 their first 15 games without Levine. And I think it was even worse than that. It was 3 and something in the first 12 or something like that. I was looking pretty good. I was like, hey, I think we're actually gonna hit the 31 kind of around that sort of area. That was with a better October than what I thought for the Bulls, right? So their first game was here. I only had them winning one of the first 5 games in October. They won 3. But then I got the prediction. I think I got November right, in terms of wins and losses in November, or maybe it was December. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was somewhere around. It was between November and December. I got my kind of prediction for the month of wins and losses correct. And then January hit, and then we were losing every game here. It was L to the Pelicans, L to the Hawks, L to the Hornets, L to the Trailblazers. Obviously the Kings game where DeRozan came back into town, and I was like, hey, we're kind of looking pretty good, because then we won against the Clippers, which was Levine putting up a pretty good game against them. But then we lost to the Warriors, then we lost to the 76ers. That was just that's where I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm looking pretty good. At this moment right here, I was looking pretty solid. I was like, wow, I might actually be right in terms of prediction for once, because last year I don't think I was right either. And then we traded Zach, and then we lost all these games, right? I was like, okay, I'm also looking still pretty solid. And then all of a sudden, the Bulls went on a run, and they just went on an incredible month of March, and it all went out the door, and it went into April, and all of a sudden the Bulls have a 39-win season, which is insane, and probably sucks for the future overall for the organization. That's debatable for who you talk to right about that, but at least in my opinion, that kind of sucks. But yeah, overall, so we're gonna go ahead and look at my because I got my predictions on my phone again. I didn't touch this. If you wanna think I touched this, I promise you I did not touch this. All right. So in November, I had the Bulls going 5 and 11, and that was without, I think, the 2 playing games that were added. The in-season tournament games that were added. So in November, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So I got November correct, because then I also had in November, let's see here. God, I honestly forget how this works out for them. Where was Was this the actual playing game? I don't remember, honestly, now. God, the season was such a blur. Wait, no. Okay, no. No, I think in November correct. So yeah, I got all of November correct. Then December I had them going 3-7. And I don't think I got that correct at all. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. December I was completely wrong. But yeah. So that was completely wrong in December. January, I had them going 6-10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got January all correct. I got all correct in January. I had them 6-10 in January. Got that correct. February, this was where I was completely wrong about this. But so it kind of made up for the early wins that they got. But I had them going 5-6 in February. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 L's in February versus my 6 I predicted. And then in March, bro, because of all the teams that were tanking, it all got messed up. But in March, I had the Bulls going 3-12 in March. And holy hell, did that not come to fruition, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 L's in March. Okay, that's insane. I had the Bulls going 3-12 in March, and they only got 6 L's in March. I also had the Bulls going 4-3 in April. The Bulls only got 1 L in April. So obviously that was wrong in itself as well. So this should have been an L. Like, let's just be real with ourselves. Giddey hitting that half-court shot should have been an L. And then we saw Denver not have Jokic. We saw Indiana not have Tyrese Halliburton. But the Bulls, other than those games, right, where we're kind of looking at just like, well, they're missing some of the guys, they took care of business, bro. They went in and they took care of business against the Lakers. They took care of business against Sacramento. And then they were beating the teams that were obviously tanking here in Toronto, Portland, and Charlotte. They had the horrible L to Oklahoma City. And then the one big L that was not on what people were happy with was the Dallas game, right? Where Dallas had nobody and the Bulls took an L when everyone was healthy. So that was kind of like the one, like, what the hell is this sort of game for them in their whole little run here. But other than that, they were taking care of business, which was very, very shocking, at least in my opinion, because I was not expecting them to do that. And so Kobe White was player of the month, well deserved for him. Averaged 27 points per game in that month, and because of that, Kobe White ended up with a season average in terms of points per game of 20.4, which is like, coming into this year, I'm just like, what's going to happen with that? I don't know if Kobe's ever going to even get there, and he did it. Now, granted, as I do want to just keep pointing out, like, hey, good job. But if we go ahead and look at the first 5 months of the season, you weren't going to get to that number. It's just that you ended up having a 27 point per game month in March, and a 22 point per game month in April to help you get there. So it's really insane. So shout out to him. He proved me wrong this year. I was completely wrong about him never getting to 20 points per game, but he did it. And it's been a hell of a ride since then. So we'll see if this continues for him. I have more faith in what we saw at the end of this season for him moving forward than what we saw last year, and that being consistent. But you know, you still gotta go out and do it, right? Just because, you know, he went and got player of the month does not mean that suddenly next season he's an all-star. I hope Bulls fans understand that, and I hope that you understand why I'm kind of, you know, guarded about that. Just because you get player of the month does not mean you're suddenly just become an all-star next season, right? I hope people can, you know, understand why I think that. There have been players in the league where if you are player of the month, they have never been all-stars. Hito Turkoglu is one of them. So I'm just a little bit guarded about him moving forward, about him becoming an all-star next season, which I know a lot of Bulls fans want him to be, and think that he will be. But once again, there's only 12 guys per conference. So kind of tough, man. You can't be a top 12 player for only a month and be an all-star, right? You have to be a top 12 player for, you know, 50 games. So that's gonna be the big challenge for Kobe next season, and I hope that he's up to it. That'll be a big boost for the Bulls if he's able to get to that level. But we'll see if it does end up happening for him. So congratulations to Kobe for proving me wrong. And then obviously Giddey, he then, you know, had a fantastic second half, or post All-Star break, I should say, not fully second half, but post All-Star break, he had a very good post All-Star break. The 3-point percentage ended up being 37.8%, so we'll round up to 38. Never thought I'd ever see that from Josh Giddey in his career, honestly. Never thought I would see something like that. This, you know, hopefully this stays consistent. and I want to see this number go up, but that's a very good sign moving forward. So that's something that with Giddey, I'm happy to see this, and I hope that he continues to shoot more, and then it stays at that percentage. The problem is just, yet again, is just we look at the splits, man. The splits just are kind of all over the place for him, so it's just it was heavily reliant on these months here, which we'll give him February as well, where all of a sudden it just shot up insanely, especially this February month. He shot, over 50% from 3-point range, but we saw the hot start where everyone's like, oh my god, TheSlamDuncan, he's gonna be great, and then 2 months of below 30% from 3-point range. December was dreadful from him from 3-point range, which is why I just always say don't forget about what happened at the start of the season, because I can't ignore this. Like, people want to just ignore this. I can't, unfortunately, I just can't ignore it. Because then if I average these months out, it's pretty bad, right? But this month then nullifies all of these. So who knows, right? We don't really know what we're going to get from Giddey, honestly, moving forward, but it seems like he's kind of figured it out in terms of his 3-point shot, which I think is the biggest thing that I would hope that stays with him. If that stays with them, then I have a lot more faith moving forward with him. If that does not stay with them, then I'm definitely more concerned. But I have a lot more faith in Giddey's future if he has a 3-point shot in his arsenal, and I'm looking forward to him continuing that. So props to him. But back to my 5 predictions here. Okay, so this was my record prediction, completely wrong, right? I had 31 wins. I was looking pretty good in the month of January, looking pretty good in the month of February as well. We were kind of hovering around this sort of area if the projected kind of numbers played out the way I thought it would, and of course then we went on the run. So thank you, Bulls, for proving me wrong. I look like an absolute idiot here, but that's the reason why it's fun to make predictions at the start of the season. My first prediction, though, or sorry, Eastern Conference, right? So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna go side by side here for this. But in the Eastern Conference, I had Boston Celtics as a number 1 seed, and then this is also where I look insanely stupid, but it was the Knicks, Bucks, and 76ers 2 through 4, and I got the Knicks in as the only team that was right about that. So there's that. 5 through 8, I had the Cavs, Magic, Pacers, and Heat. I don't think a single one of those hit besides the Magic, which is just crazy. And then I had the Hawks and Raptors as the 9-10 seeds, which that wasn't correct as either. So this was all insanely wrong from me. I then also had the Bulls at number 11. I had the Hornets, Pistons, Nets, and Wizards being the last teams. And then obviously that was wrong because Philly was one of the worst teams in the league this year. So what a crazy kind of look back, man. When I look back at this, at my predictions for the Eastern Conference, I'm just like, holy hell, this looks awful. I look stupid as hell right now. But hey, that's why we make predictions, and it's fun to look back at it. So yeah, that's crazy to look at when I look at that. So my first prediction, though, that I did make when it came to the Bulls specifically, was that I said the Bulls were going to be averaging 37 threes, at least 37 threes per game. Okay, this was based off of the preseason numbers of how many threes the Bulls took, and that came to fruition easily. The Bulls averaged this season 42 threes per game, so I said 37 plus. 37 plus would have put them around, like, at least the top half of the leagues, which is the reason why I said 37 plus. I initially did say 40 plus, but I wasn't too sure. So I did say 37 plus to kind of be on the safer side, and obviously this did hit, though. So 37 plus for the Bulls. So you want to give me half a point, because I was kind of, I was kind of thinking more in this sort of area here, but I'll just kind of say half a point. So this one did hit, though, for me. So this is a good job from me, at least in this one. In terms of this one, Bulls will average more points per game than last year. So last season, in the 2023-24 season, the Bulls averaged 112.3 points per game. This season, the Bulls averaged 117.8 points per game. So I was right about that as well. So we saw a significant increase in scoring with the increased 3-point attempts. So 1 and 2, I was correct, but I did also say this, holy hell. I did say that I thought it would increase by a little bit, but not by a whole lot. And that's where it's kind of shocking at how much the Bulls increased it by. That's a 5-point point per game increase there's a scoring this year, which is insane. So once again, maybe half a point for me. I did get this right overall, but I was not expecting it to be this much. So yeah, like, I'll just kind of say half a point for both of these 2 predictions here. because I'm kind of shocked at how much the Bulls did increase their points per game average. Also 10 plus 3-pointers made in 80 out of the 82 games, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's awesome. The fact that we saw this Bulls team get to double-digit threes per game made is great. That needs to continue, and I think it will. Hopefully, we'll see. I as much as I want to believe in this Bulls franchise moving forward, I have very, very, very low expectations. Number 3 is that I said Josh Giddey will be a starter the entire season. You could say that I was wrong about this because Giddey did come back one day from his ankle injury against the Phoenix Suns, if I'm remembering correctly, and he came off the bench. So, you know, it's up to you with what you say. I'm personally just going to give myself the point because I think he was a starter all season long. He came back off the bench due to an injury. But I also did say, though, that no matter how much he struggled, which he did struggle early on, I said that he will be starting every game if he's healthy. And I did also kind of point out in this one, like, does he finish every game? Does he play in crunch time? And he wasn't playing in crunch time to start the season. So I personally think that this was I got this one. So it's a nice overall prediction for me. I will say, though, I think that these 3 predictions when I made this video, these were on like the safer side. I would have been kind of shocked if these didn't necessarily hit, or if they were not close to hitting, but these hit. So first 3 predictions, you could say that I got them. If you want to give me half points on them, that's fine. But yeah, now this is where the spicy stuff came in, which is that my 4th prediction was that I said Julian Phillips would be a 38 plus 3-point shooter from corner to threes this year on a minimum of 80 attempts. And this was assuming that, you know, he was going to be healthy for most of the season. This was pretty spicy by me. And this is because of how well he was playing in the preseason. Julian Phillips looked incredible in the preseason, and I thought that with the way that Billy Donovan was like bringing him off the bench early, I'm like, man, Julian Phillips might be a rotational player all season long. And unfortunately, Phillips did not play in every game. There were some DMP CDs, but he did play in 79 games, which is great. But I actually don't know if this is correct. I don't know if this hit or not, but I'm interested in seeing if this did hit here. So let's see. I forgot how to do this. Crap. Is it? I think it's no. Sorry, it's splits, and then we gotta go to shoot. There you go. All right. It actually looks like I hit this. Okay. Yeah. So Julian Phillips, in terms of both from both corners, right? Julian Phillips got 103 threes attempted from, if you combine both corners, right? And he made 50 or 41, which means that he pretty much was a 40% 3-point shooter from the corners this season. So that's crazy. Yeah, I was honestly thinking this was pretty spicy, but this was actually one I did actually hit. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I was not sure. I was actually worried that he didn't get enough threes attempted for this to actually hit or not. But yeah, he actually hit this one. So I'm actually happy that we saw this. So you know, I've always kind of said, like, I think Julian Phillips is like a more athletic PJ Tucker, and this is the reason why, because in the corner he's actually like a pretty solid 3-point shooter. Above the break, though, as you see here, he is an 18% 3-point shooter above the break, which is the problem from him. So, but either way, though, I'm very happy that this hit. I did also then say that I hope that he raises 3-point percentage to 34% this season. He did not hit that, unfortunately, because he is too poor above the break. 18% above the break from 3-point range versus about 40% from the corners, which is crazy. That's a crazy difference. Unfortunately, he did not get there. So yeah, he shot 31.6% from 3 in the 2023-24 season. That increased. It just didn't increase that much, unfortunately. So that is disappointing. But still, this is good to see the 3-point percentage in the corners to be very, very high. I'm actually very happy about that. That is a very good sign from Julian Phillips. So hope that continues for him. I'm happy that this prediction did hit. So I'm honestly, you could say I'm 4 for 4. And then last but not least, I don't know what you're going to say for this one, because I actually think that I don't know if Levine actually hit the free throw percentage for this. So I'm going to actually say that I don't think he did. Now, for the entire season, Zach did not hit this number. For the entire season, Levine did not get to 24 points per game. Now, with the Bulls, though, he actually did average with the Bulls exactly 24 points per game. The funny thing is that with the Bulls, his free throw percentage was under 80%. So of course that is the one thing that he doesn't hit. He had career highs is just a field goal percentage, which is 51%. Career high just a 3-point percentage, which is 44.6%. And then overall for the season, he averaged 23.3 points per game, 51% from the field, 44.6% from 3-point range, and then 82.5 from the free throw line. I mean, I would argue it's close enough. Like how AV Breeze said, I think it's close enough. If you want to count the Bulls only, I think that should probably hit. But for the entire season, unfortunately, with the Sacramento Kings, he did not get to 24 points per game with his limited number of games there. But honestly, it's probably close enough. I do think, though, at the end of the day, he still proved that he is still one of the most efficient scoring guards in this league. He has his flaws, not saying he's perfect, but he is still by far one of the most efficient scoring guards in the league. That cannot be taken away from him. When he's healthy, obviously, which he did play 74 games this season. And the good news for people like us that have been like begging LaVine to take threes, LaVine hit 239 threes this season, which is by far career high. Like it's not even close. His previous career high was 204, which was in the 2022-23 season. So he was healthy. He only missed 8 games, and he missed some games because one, he got traded, and then his wife had his third child. So he missed some games just not even due to being not healthy. He missed games just to personal reasons and then being traded. And then he was healthy for the entire season. He had his most efficient year by far in terms of overall field goal percentage. And then also, I think in terms of true shooting percentage as well, I think he was by far his most efficient this year as well. Yeah, I mean, combined, it's pretty close to the 2021 season, his first All-Star year, but it's pretty damn close. But it still was by far his best true shooting season. So, still by far one of his best years in terms of just efficiency everywhere. Yeah, it's honestly really impressive with how well he did this year. So, major props to him for proving me right once again. I'm just like, bro, like I understand the contract's bad, but he's still a damn good player at the end of the day. So honestly, I mean, we'll see. I think that I don't know how long he's going to be in Sacramento, but we'll see how if he's able to continue, because he is in the 30 age, right? Or he's now 30, so we'll see how long he's going to be able to kind of stick around in terms of this efficiency level. But I do think that if he continues to shoot more threes, then it's a good thing. 243s this year, or 239 exactly. That's fantastic. So keep doing that. That's definitely better. Unfortunately, in terms of the plus, this has always been the thing with Zach, but it's always been about bad teams. This year, like the team was just significantly better when he was with the Bulls. The team was just significantly better with him on the court. With Sacramento, the Kings have a lot of problems. They were just better with him off the court. So honestly, I don't know what to take of this year in terms of total, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Yeah, the Bulls they were better with him on the court this year. At least obviously when he was still here. I know that the second half run was, everyone's talking about, oh my God, Steve LaVine was the problem. I don't think that's necessarily what we should be looking at, because the Bulls offense for the first half of the season was dreadful without LaVine on the court. So I know a lot of people would be like, oh my God, Steve, we just had to get rid of Zach. And yes, guys stepped up because LaVine's gone, but I don't know if those guys would have looked that good in November. I really don't know. I think that there had to have been a major adjustment period, because Giddey was getting adjusted clearly to the team. Kobe had to make some serious adjustments for being on scouting reports more. So I just think that I don't know if it would have happened, but we'll see at the end of the day moving forward. Well, it's fascinating to see all your preseason Vooch predictions. Wild career year from him. Oh yeah, bro. My Vooch predictions for this year, bro, I was expecting pretty bad overall numbers. I did say that he'd shoot better than what he did last season. Like I'm like, he's not going to shoot 29% from 3-point range again, but I was not expecting him to be close to 40% this year. Now here's the thing. As much as I want to, people are talking about like, oh my God, he's had such a great year. And yes, especially early on in the season, he was having a phenomenal season. Like early on in the year, he was playing like an all-star. And he was shooting like 44% from 3-point range. Like it was a very, very good start to the season from Vooch. That's not me trying to take anything away from him. I'm just pointing that out. He then had some rough moments. Okay, the 3-point percentage took a major dip in January. Not that great in February, but then all of a sudden, and as everyone did in March, it just exploded again to 45%. So, a really solid year from Vooch overall. January and February were not great months, though. I won't lie. Those were pretty bad months overall from Vooch. Now, here's the thing, though. Okay, I know there's a lot of people right now on Twitter talking about how much Vooch has had such an underrated year, and yes, it's great that Vooch has had such a great underrated year. And you know, for I think his name is Paulie G on Twitter, who's he was the biggest Vooch defender in the world, and I'm just like, brother, I don't know what you're looking at. And you know, props to him. You know, he stuck to his guns and said that Vooch wasn't washed. I thought Vooch was absolutely washed, and he had a very solid year. Here's the problem, okay? As good of a year that he's had, then why didn't he get traded at the trade deadline? Like, I'm just being dead honest with us. Like, if he's had such a great year, right? And yes, the numbers fantastic. 53% from the field overall, that's a career high, right? 40% from 3-point range, that's also career high. Like, it's fantastic to see this. Like, it's awesome to see these numbers, right? But why wasn't he traded then? Okay. Hence why it's just the unfortunate reality with Vooch. Even though he had such a great year overall in terms of his standards are not amazing and already. And moving forward with them, the lack of defense is such a problem, bro. It just is. So, as good of a year he's had overall, and you know, in March he kind of solidified himself having a good year. Because if he had another bad month in March, then it would have been pretty bad for him overall. But you know, you would think that some other teams would want him, right? Yeah. So, basically what I'm saying though is that, hey, we're open for sale. If you want this guy who had a redeem year, and you know, everyone talks about his efficiency this year, and I'm like, hey, come and get him. He's available. He's available for a 2nd-round pick or even less. So, if you want a center that can shoot 40% from 3-point range and give you a field goal percentage above 53% and average a double-double, he's a walking double-double, as every Bulls fan says, then come and get him, please. I am begging you to please come and get this man. Please get him off the squad for not just my own personal mental sake, but for his own mental sake. He really shouldn't be here anymore. I give him a lot of props for what he did this year because it was an up-tempo offense. He went away from the post a lot, especially as the season went on. And he adjusted his game. Like, Vooch definitely adjusted his game to fit into the more modern style of offense. And hell, look, he had an efficient year. Look at that, guys. Wow. Who would have thought that if he had less post-ups, then it would be a more efficient year for him? Look at that. The thing is, though, it's just that, once again, he's just not that valuable right now. Walking double-double, as everyone says, it's just like, it's not that great. Like, especially on this team, I don't think his rebounding is that spectacular. And the defense is just a problem. So, once again, God, that voice crack was awful. I am so sorry. Once again, though, God, that voice crack was so bad. I haven't had a voice crack like that in a while. Holy crap. Once again, though, please, someone get him. Someone come and get this man. I will gladly trade this man to you. He had such a great year, guys, right? Come and get that man. I think the big pieces that moved really kept a lot of the middle tier pieces in place. Would you even consider Vucevic a middle tier piece though? Like, that's my only thing. Like, I don't know. Because like, I feel like middle tier pieces are kind of like, yeah, these are bona fide starters. As good of a year Vucevic is having, does he go and put up these same percentages in a slower offense that requires more post-ups and for him to shoot more mid-range shots? I don't know. Like, I'm being dead serious. I don't know. I think the way the Bulls played this year really helped them. He shot threes and he shot interior shots, right? So if suddenly, you know, he gets away from that on some other team, like, is it going to be as effective? Like, look, I want you guys to look at this, okay? So keep in mind this number: 120 shots attempted between 10 to 16 feet, which is the Vucevic like special of like mid-range, and then also here like 42 shots attempted between 16 feet to the three-point line, all right? Now, I want you to look at this year. If it would load. Oh, come on. Thank you. Look, okay? Like, this alone should show you how much of a difference this made for Vooch, okay? He shot significantly less mid-range shots. He just straight up did. Now, does he go to some other team and do the same thing? I don't know, right? I don't know if he goes to another team that, you know, asks for as many threes as the Bulls do. And then to make the, if you want to see even worse, bro, like look at this year, okay? Or I guess it's actually a little bit lower, but this number's higher. Like it just shows you like how much Vooch relied on the mid range. Or actually, this was actually worse this year. Sorry. So yeah, like Vooch was just too mid range heavy in his time, and it's not shocking to me that he had a more efficient season where he focused on shooting threes, as you can see here, and then he focused on shooting shots at the rim. Okay, you do that, you lower your mid-range shots, especially from 16 to three-point line. It's a lot better. That's not to say that he shot poorly. These are like fine numbers from mid-range, but these numbers would have been lower if he continued to shoot more of these. So to see this, right, is a good sign for Vooch moving forward in his career. Shoot the threes, shoot the shots at the rim, the 3 to 10 foot shots with your little floater, that's also fine. But you need to stay in those zones. Don't move farther out. Don't get to the mid-range. Don't post up, right? Hence then you have a more efficient season where you just shoot less mid-range shots. Here's the other thing that I do want to talk about, and I think this also does relate to sort of what Levine is kind of falling under, but also what DeRozan does fall under as well. Hence why when we look at true shooting percentage, like it doesn't necessarily apply to Levine this year because he was just so efficient this year, but true shooting percentage is important to look at because a lot of people like don't really take it that seriously, but like it is important to look at. And so Vooch, you know, if he's having a good overall season, then you're going to be in the 60s in terms of true shooting. When I tell you that someone shot 10 of 20 from the field, right? Most of us would say, wow, that's an efficient day for you. You shot 10 to 20 from the field. You shot 50% from the field. That's efficient, right? Especially for a guard, right? A guard specifically should be shooting that sort of number if you're trying to be efficient on any given day, right? What if I only told you, though, that that player is 10 to 20 from the field, but they have 20 points, okay? Which means that they shot 10 to 20 from the field, and every single shot that they made was a 2-point shot, and they didn't shoot a free throw, they didn't make a 3-point shot, okay? In today's era, right, where threes are heavily relied upon, but also free throws are important, if someone shoots 10 to 20 from the field and only has 20 points, that's honestly, as much as we would hate to say it, that's inefficient, okay? I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but we're in an era right now where with the 3-point shot and the free throws, okay, and then everybody that shoots twos is mostly inside the paint. If you shoot 10 to 20, if you're shooting 50% from 2-point range and you shot 20 shots from 2-point range and you don't shoot free throws and you don't shoot threes, that's inefficient, okay? Because let's say, for example, someone didn't even shoot free throws. Let's just say someone shot 10 to 20 from the field, but they made 6 threes, right? So instead of you only having 20 points on 10 to 20 shooting, you have 26 points in 10 to 20 shooting, right? That's more efficient. That's you on the same amount of shots with no free throws, but you took more threes and you made threes. Therefore, you are more efficient than a player that was 10 to 20 from the field that had only 20 points, right? Because of Vooch's lack of free throws, he has to be efficient, in like extremely efficient overall from the field, or else his numbers don't look good. Everyone wants to talk about like, oh, well, he's shooting like 48% from the field, or, you know, he shot 50% from the field. Like, I don't care. Like, if he's shooting only 50% from the field, or in some cases with the Bulls, it was much lower than that, right? That's not being efficient enough. That means that, okay, yeah, you shot 50% from the field. You made, let's say, 8 shots per game. Okay, great. You have 16 points. That's inefficient. So you need to be hitting your 3-point shots, which obviously in the previous year, in 2023-24, he wasn't doing that. And you need to then, if you're Vooch, like, you ideally get to the free throw line, but you just don't. But if that is the way that you're going to play, then therefore, your true shooting percentage is going to be much lower if you don't get to the free throw line, if you don't make your threes. That's the reason why with Vooch, he's just not that valuable. Because his overall efficiency is not that great. A lot of people just look at the 50% field goal percentage. Well, then I present to you someone named Jarrett Allen, who, you know, a lot of people don't want to like put him as like that good of an overall player. And yes, he doesn't average as many points per game as Vooch. And yes, he doesn't average a double-double like Vooch does. But you want to talk about a guy that is by far more impactful and much more efficient from the field, okay? Just look at his true shooting percentage, bro. His true shooting percentage is 72%, right? Every single season for Jarrett Allen has been in the 60 pluses in true shooting percentage as a center. That, unfortunately, for someone like Vucevic, and as much people don't want to admit it, that's the norm. Like, you have to, as a center, unless you're obviously like the MVPs, which they get to the free throw line a ton, hence their true shooting percentage is high. But if you're not one of those guys, okay, which in Vucevic's case, he's not a guy who gets to the free throw line, he's not an MVP caliber player, he's a okay-ish player. Like, for example, one of those guys that did not make the All-Star team, but I would just, once again, just say he's more efficient, okay? This guy averaged 16 or 17 points per game, much more rebounds. I know he didn't lead the league in rebounds, I don't think, but he was up there. You know, forget the blocks for a second here. But true shooting percentage, right? 64%. Automatically, again, this guy right here, Ivica Zubac, who is potentially an All-NBA candidate this year, and again, not an All-Star, just talking about just a general starter right now, he's just more efficient. He is more efficient, even though he doesn't shoot threes, and he doesn't get to the free throw line as often either. He's just more efficient than Vooch, because he makes sure that he shoots a high percentage on his 2-point shots, which is what Vooch has to also do. But then also, if he's going to be shooting threes, you have to drain them if you're not going to get to the free throw line, which he doesn't. So I'm just pointing this out to you guys because it just shows you why everyone thinks like, oh, Vooch is like so good. And I'm like, well, the reason why Vooch is not good is because of what I'm telling you right now, is because he's inefficient as an overall player. This number, obviously, this year, like, he was pretty efficient this year. Like, 61% true shooting percentage, that's fine. Like, you can live with that. But in terms of, you know, the previous years, 54% true shooting, 59%, that's still not good enough. But your center needs to, at bare minimum, be in the 60s, at least in my opinion. Centers are supposed to be one of the more efficient pieces on the floor. Like, that's a guy that you should reliably look to, is like, yeah, you're an efficient guy that we can reliably get buckets from you in this day and age, right? But Vooch has never done that in his career. This was by far his highest true shooting percentage year in his career. And even then, it's just like, it's not that amazing. So I that's the reason why when I talk about Vooch, how much like I just don't really, like, I'm not that thrilled with him. It's because of this. Like, yes, he had a very nice overall season, but it's just because of the way that the league is looked at now. Efficiency is key, and Vooch just has never been an efficient player in his career, unless he's hitting the 3-point shot. And that's like the biggest if in the world, because his career 3-point percentage is 35%. So I don't know what we're going to get every year. And I don't blame teams for not wanting to kind of risk that in terms of like, oh, you know, well, don't worry. Well, you know, hopefully he'll keep it up. Or it's just like, I wouldn't personally depend on that. So that's that for Vooch. And that's my rant about Vooch once again on this channel. I do apologize. If you wanted to know why I genuinely dislike Stacey King and his analysis when it comes to the big man, posting up is just not that efficient a form of basketball when it comes to certain players like Nikola Vucevic. Obviously, sorry, I heard a disconnect. I thought my mic disconnected, but it looks like we're fine. There's obviously, you know, players like Jokic who, you know, they break the rules. But a lot of times, though, when it comes to some of these post-ups, man, it's not that efficient from guys. And so Vooch this year, he dramatically increased his post-ups in terms of his overall efficiency with it, but it wasn't that spectacular. Where even is he? Okay, he's here, all right? But, like, 1.03, like, this significantly dropped from the start of the season, where he was, like, 1.17 or something like that. He's dropped down to the 58th percentile, which is not good. Hence why, once again, it's just like, why would you post up? If he's the pick and roll man, though, let's see here. And this is always not easy to look at because, okay, well, I mean, either way though, like you just see, it's just higher points per possession. It's a little bit less in terms of the overall field goal percentage, but you would much rather this instead of the post up. So hence, once again, I'm just like, Vooch got away from the post up this year. He got away from the mid range shot. Hence, and he got more pick and roll opportunities. Hence, hey, look what happened. More efficient this year. As you can see, Vooch had less post up possessions per game, less frequency in terms of post up possessions per game. Okay. In terms of pick and roll, this year 4.7 possessions per game. Last season was actually higher. Okay, that's actually crazy. I did not know that. That's actually crazy to me. Either way, though, more efficient in the pick and roll game, and hence where he needs to be more efficient. He also then obviously was more efficient from the 3-point line, which was huge. I think he'd be under spot up, right? If I'm not mistaken. I guess not. Really? I don't know. I thought he'd be under spot up, but I guess he just isn't. But either way, though, it was much more efficient from Vooch this year, and that needs to continue for him to get off the damn roster. Let's see here. Where was he actually? It's all right. It's not. It could be better in terms of spot up shooting, but he was better, obviously. I'm gonna make a bet and say he was better than last season. Oh, sorry. Come on. Where is he? Did he not even qualify last year? Bro, Vooch was that bad last year that Vooch does not even qualify for spot-up shooting last season. That's how bad Vooch was. He was that bad last year that he didn't even qualify for spot-up shooting. That's insane. What? Okay, yeah. That alone should just show you just how much better Vooch was last season. Or this year, okay? Compared to last season, bro, Vooch was just that much better that he didn't even qualify last season or the previous year in terms of spot-up shooting numbers. That's crazy, bro. You want to know how bad that is? Like, that's an insane number to look at. Like, as you can see here, he's qualified this year. Like, you know, it's actually around similar numbers for him. But either way, again, he just was just better overall as a player. I feel about Sabonis fit. Just curious. I don't actually think they will. Unfortunately, I don't like the idea at all. At least in my opinion, Tyler, because I know that you're one of the people that wants to kind of, you know, push for more winning. I'm personally, again, I want the rebuild, so Sabonis doesn't fit the timeline. Now, what Sabonis does do is that he gets out and runs really well, and he can actually run a fast break by himself. He has very good ball handling for a center. And this year he didn't shoot a lot of threes, but he was extremely efficient from 3-point range this year. So I understand the idea. I don't love the fit. You know, you want to talk about, well, once again, efficiency. I know we were just talking about this, but like, once again, you want to talk about true shooting percentage from guys that I look at and I'm like, hey, look, this Sabonis 65%, higher than Vooch this year. But with the lack of interior presence from him, in terms of defensive ability, it kind of is concerning for me, especially with knowing that Giddey and Cole are probably your backcourt. So I personally I don't love the fit. If the Bulls had like the best defensive perimeter defense in the world, then I would personally love the fit, but they don't have that, and I don't think that's something that they can afford to sacrifice here. So Sabonis is a great player, love him. Don't think it's worth it though, unfortunately. I think Sabonis, in my opinion, like his game, but not the fit here. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I don't think it would work out. And again, he's gonna be 29 next season. It just doesn't fit the timeline. Yeah, very good player though. I think he'll be traded somewhere, maybe this offseason for maybe to some contender, but it's not gonna be the Bulls. Is he better than Vucevic? 1,000,000% he's better than Vucevic. Like, it's not even close. It's not even a question. But I personally think that the Bulls need to look for either a young center or just a better fit center. moving forward. I don't think Sabonis is personally the best idea. What do you think, Tyler? Though, would you want Sabonis? I want to know, because I know a lot of people think that. I know a lot of people think that it's a good idea. I'm just like, no, no thanks. I love the guy. I think he's a great player, but if there's an overall fit here, no thanks. I know he's that old. I mean, hey, time flies, bro. I know. I remember when Sabonis was traded for Serge Ibaka, and I remember that whole day, and man, it's crazy to think back on that. So yeah. Yeah, no for Sabonis for me. Here's about Claxton from Brooklyn. As much as I love the idea of Claxton, he did not really have that great of a year. He had a pretty rough year. Kind of looked like he was disinterested in playing during some moments. We talked about efficiency from a center that doesn't shoot perimeter shots. This is unacceptable. You can't shoot 56% from the field. This is not good enough. The defensive ability is always enticing, but it did go down a little bit this year. Now, granted, I know that Brooklyn's kind of tanking, but yeah, I'm not that thrilled with them, unfortunately. Would I still choose Claxton over Vucevic? Yes, but I think the idea of Claxton overall, which was a lot like my love for Claxton was a lot higher at the start of the season compared to after this entire year for Claxton. It was kind of disappointing, unfortunately. So it's either you're kind of betting like, yes, he's 25, so like you're gonna bet that the following season he's gonna come back and be rejuvenated and kind of come in and like be a much better version of himself. But my biggest concern is the fact that his field goal percentage dropped this heavily. From a guy, again, he's a rim running center that only shoots like 6 and in. Like I can't have a guy that shoots most of his shots at the basket shoots 56% from the field. That's inexcusable. You can see look, he took some threes, which is stupid, but either way, like you're looking at in the interior shots for him, like this is not good enough. Like the 3 to 10 foot range, this has got to be better than under 40% from him. So yeah, I'm not loving the idea. I think it's not that great of an idea, unfortunately, right now. His contract is nice, I think. I always forget if it goes up or down. I always mess up in my head which way it goes, but I think it goes down. It does. So it's definitely not the worst idea in the world, but are you willing to give up any sort of your assets, which you have limited assets already, for a guy that is coming off one of his worst seasons? I don't know. I feel like it'd be a good fit with a guy like Giddey. I didn't know his percentage at the basket was that low. Every time I saw him play, he piqued my curiosity. He is genuinely very, very intriguing, right? He can guard, honestly, kind of 1 through 5. Like you can run switch defense with him, and obviously his help defense when he's right is very solid. But yeah, I was, as the season just kind of went on, I'm just like, bro, like his field goal percentage just isn't good. He's missing some shots around the basket. It could have just be disinterest in playing, like maybe, but yeah, not sure. I might take a chance buying low on Claxton. I mean, yeah, if you're able to maybe get him like for pretty cheap, right? Like buy low, maybe it's worth the risk. I mean, 25 fits in, at least in my opinion, it fits enough into the timeline. Like, much rather have a 25-year-old than Sabonis being 28 this year, 29 next season. So, like, having Claxton at 26 next season, that's fine. That works for me. You have him under contract for the next 3 seasons, also great. Contract goes down every single year, great. So yeah, I mean, if it's a buy low where if they take Vooch and you give him a 2nd-round pick, then sure, yeah, I'm all for it. There's no way in hell Brooklyn accepts that deal, though. So that's just kind of just my thing. I'm just like, I think the Bulls could have said just go and sign someone for cheap in the offseason and not give up any assets. And I think that would be a much better decision for them moving forward. But if you're able to get Claxton for pretty cheap, then sure. Maybe figure it out. There's only 4-ish games go. I mean, yeah, like you only watch Claxton. I mean, hell, I've really only watched Claxton like most of the times I'm only watching when he plays the Bulls, and I've watched him like maybe like 2 times the rest of the season where he's not playing the Bulls. So I think Cam Thomas gets an RFA. He probably won't get anything special from any other team either. But the good news for him is just that Brooklyn has his bird rights, so it kind of really doesn't matter in his sort of case, where it's just like Brooklyn has all the money. And so if they end up finding nobody, then they gotta spend money on somebody, right? So he's kind of like in a much better spot about that. But I don't think he gets anything. Like the only team that has cap space is Brooklyn, and Brooklyn's just not gonna spend all their cap space on him, right? So I don't think he gets that much, honestly. I think he's not gonna get a big contract at all. Because again, what other team is gonna be looking to give Cam Thomas a major offer? Like, it's definitely not gonna be the Pistons. They've projected the second most cap space in the upcoming offseason. So I'd be very shocked if he gets a major offer. I think the Brooklyn Nets, they use up their cap space and then they'll re-sign Cam Thomas to some kind of deal. Maybe it's like pretty hefty if they just want to have like that trade chip kind of ready for like contract matching. But I think it's gonna be somewhere like low 20s or even maybe below it per year, because he has no leverage in that sort of situation, because the one team that has cap space is the team that he's already on. So he's in a pretty rough spot. Yeah, it's just a rough time. It's a rough time to be a restricted free agent if you're Cam Thomas. Like, if other teams had money, like, I mean, I think he'd get a pretty hefty offer, but no other teams really have money, and the one team that has money is the team he's on. So the Nets could just straight up hold out and just be like, okay, yeah, go get a contract, buddy. We can re-sign you at any point. We are not scared of trying to, like, oh, we used up all our cap space or anything like that. It's like, no, there's no time limit. We can re-sign you literally, like, heading into the preseason or into the training camp. Like, we can just re-sign you then. There's no time limit. We have your bird rights. And unless you just accept the qualifying offer, which he could, either way, then the Brooklyn Nets still have bird rights in him the following season. So I don't really see what Cam Thomas has as the bargaining chips, unfortunately. The Brooklyn Nets are going to spend their money somewhere else, and then it's just like, okay, well, once we spend all our money, then we'll deal with you. And they're not going to give him like that big of an offer, at least in my opinion. So we'll see. Brooklyn might be stupid and just give him a massive offer and use up all their cap space before signing anybody, and that'd be or trading for bad contracts. That'd be a horrific way of using their cap space, because Cam Thomas's overall his cap hit is very small. Like, Cam Thomas's cap hit is 12.1 million. So that means as long as Cam Thomas is a free agent, like, he's only taking up about $12 million of the salary cap. So you need to use your cap space for anything else before re-signing Cam Thomas. Like, there's no reason why you should be looking to go out and be spending money or re-signing Cam Thomas before you spend all your money in some sort of fashion, whether that's you sign free agents or you trade for bad contracts and get a whole bunch of picks in return for it. Because again, you could just re-sign Cam Thomas at any point. So yeah, there's really no need to worry about it, honestly. I'd be shocked if Brooklyn messes that up, but they could. They generally could. They generally could mess it up because they are the Brooklyn Nets and they make weird decisions. So all right. What was next? Oh yeah, Western Conference prediction. So I do need to go to one of my streams here. I need to go find this. I want to then show you guys my Western Conference predictions for the season. This is gonna take a second. I have to scroll a lot here, but I did go ahead and stream this. I forget which day it was. I know which day. I just don't know if it was just pregame. Cool. That's East. Okay. So, obviously, in my calculations, I was not expecting a Luka Doncic trade to happen. So once again, we're gonna go side by side here. Oh, we're gonna switch that. All right. All right, so I did this on stream. It was the pregame stream before the Bulls, before the Bulls, played the Pelicans. So, this was my Western Conference predictions. So I obviously didn't expect a Dallas Mavericks Luka Doncic trade in my calculation, so I had Dallas Mavericks at number 2. I Oklahoma City number 1. That did hit. I had Dallas at 2, which is obviously that did not happen. We're gonna keep skipping that. Minnesota at 3. Okay, so that, you know, I mean, it's close, but didn't get there. I somehow got the Nuggets at 4. That was exactly correct by me, and I don't know how the hell that worked out for me. Let's see. I don't remember the rest of it, honestly. I think I had Golden State at 5. Who did I have at 5, bro? I had Phoenix at 5. Oh my god. Jesus, bro. I had Phoenix at 5. I had Golden State at 6. I remember I definitely had Golden State above the play-in. I remember that. So yeah, Golden State at 6, which is close. It's definitely close. I had Memphis at 7. That's also close. That's one spot off. I had New Orleans at 8, and I obviously wasn't expecting like the season from hell from New Orleans either, so that happened. I had LA at 9. Again, didn't expect the Luka Doncic trade to happen. So that's not shocking. And then I think I had the Kings here. Or I had the Spurs. I think I had the Spurs here. Or no, it's the Kings. Okay. It was Sacramento at 10. So that was also close by me. And then it was Houston, LA. Okay, yeah. I remember I had the Clippers. I had the Clippers not being as bad as people thought, but I remember I'm like, I don't think the Clippers are going to be that good. But I didn't have them as like, you know, a lot of people thought they'd like be in the lottery or like way down the lottery standings, but like I didn't think they'd be that bad, but I didn't think that they'd be obviously this good this year. I had San Antonio at 13, and then the Jazz in Portland to round it out. I think I had the Jazz, yeah, Jazz at 14. So, oh my god, man, I got some hits. Obviously OKC, which is kind of like the gimme. Denver I had it right at 4. Golden State and Memphis I was 1 off, but I was pretty close. I had Kings was 1 off as well. And then this is all messed up here. I did get San Antonio at 13, which is very funny. But man, I had Phoenix at 5, bro. I had Phoenix at 5, and they ended 11th this year. Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. I don't expect this stream. Did you plan it, or did something happen? I missed it. Tyler, so basically I missed the last 2 games of the season, right? I wasn't able to do post games for either of them. Sunday I was at work, and then the Wizards game on Friday, I had an unexpected thing happen. I'm fine, and also everyone else is fine, but everything was, it wasn't necessarily fully planned, but I had to go and help somebody, and so that's why I had to miss that game as well. So because of that, I wanted to on the after the game versus the Wizards, I want to do like a season recap in a sense. But it didn't really make too much sense because we didn't know the standings just yet, hence why I wanted to go over the standings. So I then was like, okay, we'll do a I posted on my community tab that I was gonna go ahead and do the stream today on Monday. So I don't know if maybe you missed this year, but I did say that that I was gonna stream today in the community tab. I know that I type a lot on this, but I have to because it's the only way I can really kind of talk to you guys. So I do apologize for typing a lot, but always hit read more if you are ever reading this. Please hit read more. This is always here. This is the reason why we are streaming today. So yeah, this was planned. I know that it was kind of last minute when I did send it out, but this was a planned stream for today. So I do apologize if there wasn't much of a heads up, which I know I can tell that a lot of people weren't expecting it because you know, there wasn't a lot of people here to start the stream, which is fine. But yeah, my fault. I'll be better about this in my communication, but I did send it out. So here it is. Sorry about that. Yeah. Today it's just been I wanted to recap the last 2 games, but I still haven't watched the 76ers game, and I don't know if I ever will. But I did talk about the Wizards game already, and then I previewed the playing games. I previewed the playoff standings, and then I wanted to go over my predictions for the start of the season, which I went over my 5 predictions at the start of the season. I went over my win-loss prediction, which was completely off. And then I went over my Eastern and Western Conference predictions at the start of the season, which obviously those look pretty bad as well. So it's fun to make predictions, and it's very crazy when you look back at it. You're just like, holy hell, bro. Man, it's crazy what you think is going to happen in a season, and then the season happens, and you're like, oh my god, this did not happen at all. Yeah. Anything else we want to talk about before I want to move on to probably the last portion of the stream today? Once again, I just want to say thank you guys for checking in on the stream. I was kind of nervous no one's going to pop in, especially early on when like no one was here for like the first 15 minutes. So thank you guys for popping in eventually, and I appreciate you guys chatting with me. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, it helps me out a lot. Please go ahead and do that. Again, well, I have one more thing I do want to talk about. If we want to talk about anything else though, like playoff matchups. Oh, I forgot. I guess awards. I should probably go over that, huh? So I did go over, I did predict my awards before the start of the season, and again, these have not changed at all. So I, at the start of the season, I did say that and this is still, we'll see. Start of the season, I had Oklahoma City versus Celtics in the finals, so that is still my prediction heading into the playoffs right now. I had the Thunder winning in 6. We'll see if that does happen. My MVP was Luka Doncic. That's obviously not going to happen. It's probably most likely to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or it could be Jokic, but I think it's to be Shai. But my prediction at the start of the season, and again, like, this is on my phone. I have not touched this, okay? I promise you I did not touch this. MVP was Luka Doncic. My defensive player of the year, it would have went to this guy for not his blood clot, but it was Victor Wembanyama, and that seemed like a kind of a gimme. Sixth man of the year was I had Nas Reed. Is it Peyton Pritchard right now? I think it's Peyton Pritchard. I actually don't. I'm not even sure who the sixth man of the year. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it should be Peyton Pritchard. So, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'd be kind of shocked if he doesn't win it, honestly. Malik Beast is also a good shout, but it should be Peyton Pritchard to be winning this one. All right, let's see here. And then my most improved player, I had Evan Mobley. That's not gonna happen. There's much other players. I think Dyson Daniels should probably be the leading vote getter for that, but I mean, hell, who knows at this point? With most improved, most improved is so awkward, but. I know Kate Cunningham is going to be here, man. I really think it should be Dyson Daniels, though. But I had Evan Mobley as my pick, and he might win Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not going to win Most Improved. My Rookie of the Year, though, and if you guys remember this, I did pick Stephon Castle. This was the one that I'm like actually kind of proud of myself at, is that I did pick this guy, and it's here if you ever are wondering. But I did pick Stephon Castle, and I'm probably gonna win that one. So, yeah, a lot of people were picking Zach Edey at the start of the season, but I went with like a fun pick. I think Stephon Castle is gonna come into San Antonio and have a pretty good overall season. Obviously, it was the De'Aaron Fox thing was all weird when that all happened. That kind of threw a wrench in my plans, but Fox got injured and Wembanyama got injured. Hence, then Castle had to go and just be himself. So, worked out in my favor. Not how I expected it to work out, but it ended up working out in my favor. So. Stephon Castle looks like he's going to be winning it, and I did predict at the start of the season. So, not too bad, honestly. Is there anything you're concerned about with the Orlando/Atlanta matchup if we make it to them? So, specifically, if we face Orlando, which I don't think we're going to be facing them, I think Orlando wins that. If we face Orlando, I think they're going to slow down the game so heavily that I don't know how much the Bulls can get in transition. Obviously the Bulls in transition this year has been their bread and butter. It's been what's leading them to a lot of wins all season long. So Orlando plays a lot slower, and because of their length and their size overall in the playoffs specifically, where you don't get as many foul calls and the game slows down heavily, I really think that's going to be a struggle for the Bulls if they face the Orlando Magic. They are without Jalen Suggs, which is a huge piece missing, but their length is just insane when you look at that team. So I think Orlando has a very good team when it comes to like a playoff style atmosphere. They're, especially against like not like a non-contending team like the Bulls are. I think their length is going to cause some serious problems because the in the playoffs the game slows down. Defensive versatility is so important, especially when you hone in on certain matchups, and you're going to see Orlando kind of switch a lot. So I really think that length is going to cause some serious issues for the Bulls if they end up facing Orlando, which I don't think they're going to be facing them. I think Orlando is going to win that game. If they face the Hawks, the biggest thing for me is going to be the Trae Young lob, because Steph Noah has always talked about this with Trae Young, and he talks about how good Trae Young is at this. But I know we're very much where the Bulls beat the Atlanta Hawks last season at the United Center in the playing game. But that was a 9-10 matchup. Bulls were at home, when Kobe White had that crazy game, had put a 42 and beat the Hawks. The Bulls this year against the Hawks, though, I believe we were 3-1 or 2 or sorry, excuse me. The Hawks had more wins. It was 2-1. I don't remember what it was, honestly. Okay, so it was 1 win here, and then actually. I guess we were 2-2. Okay, we were 2-2. Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought Atlanta won the season series, but I guess I'm just wrong about that. So, Atlanta still had the tiebreaker, though, because they had if the Bulls ended up tying with Atlanta, they still had the tiebreaker due to, so it wasn't head-to-head, but I guess it was division leader wins tie from team not leading a division. This is where tiebreakers get confusing to me. But, to me, it's going to be the Trae Young lob, because it was already destroying us in the regular season, but Trae Young, with his ability to mask whether he's throwing a lob or he's putting up a floater, is extremely hard for the Bulls to figure out. And they don't have Io, right? Io has been a very key component to facing Trae Young. He's been a very, very, very important piece to that puzzle. So as much as I know a lot of people talk about like how people think Io's overrated, but either way, even if you wanted to have a guy on like Io, then like it would have been Trae Jones, and we don't have Trae Jones either. So not having that sort of guy to be guarding Trae Young all game long, I think it's going to cause the Bulls a lot of problems. So I personally think that this is going to be very hard for either of these games. You're not going to be on at home, which honestly that might be a buff for the Bulls, but I'm not entirely sure at this point. They've been better at home recently, so I don't really know. But I think facing Atlanta without facing Atlanta without Ayo Dosunmu to go against Trae Young, I think is going to cause some problems. Trae Young has this amazing ability when he kind of runs that pick and roll, gets in the middle of the lane. He does the same action, but you don't know whether it's a lob or if it's a free throw, or sorry, a floater. So I think that's going to be a very hard thing for the Bulls to guard, especially without Io. And then you don't have Trae Jones either to help guard Trae Young instead. And then no Lonzo Ball, it seems like, either. So I really think that everybody that you would throw at Trae Young is out, and that's obviously the best player on the court. So that's that. I'd be very shocked if Trae Young is not, if the Bulls end up facing the Hawks, which it could be a good chance that they do here. I'd be very shocked if Trae Young does not have a good game, because I just think that he'd be prime and ready to just carve up this Bulls defense without having a premier defender that we're used to having on him. So we'll see. Javon Carter might actually be very, very important in this game, which is crazy to say, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I did say, though, I think the Heat win either way, so I don't even know if the Bulls get to that point, but I do think the Heat are going to win that game, assuming that they aren't tanking. If they are tanking, then obviously they're tanking, and they're intentionally trying to be in the lottery to keep their pick. But if they aren't tanking, then I think that they win this game. I think Spoelstra, I'm personally gonna depend on him. Top 5 road record in the East is crazy. It is genuinely crazy to look at. Cleveland and Boston, very good. New York, solid. And then Indiana and Milwaukee are 500. It's just crazy. And then Detroit is 22-19, which is the same record they had at home. So they were just, I guess, an above 500 team at both areas, which hence your 6 games above 500 to end the season. So solid year from Detroit overall, but it's kind of iffy for them. Um, yeah, I don't really know how to feel about that for a lot of these teams. It seems like home court advantage could be crucial to some of these immediate matchups. Hence why Pacers have a good chance against the Bucks. Again, I would be choosing the Bucks if they had Lillard. They don't have Lillard, so I know they're on an 8-game winning streak. Giannis is insane, but I think Indiana is going to beat them, unfortunately, just due to overall depth. So, as much as I want to see Giannis go forward and face Cleveland in the first round or second round, it'd be tough, I think, unfortunately. So I'd be very shocked if suddenly the Bucks beat the Pacers in the first round. So Indiana's home court advantage, pretty huge for them, honestly. It's a pretty big thing. All right. Any other thoughts about playing games for the Bulls, matchups in the playoffs, etc.? If not, then I have a couple of announcements. I want to go ahead and make one more time. Is OKC's season a failure if they don't at least make Western Conference Finals? I think so. Yeah. If they don't make the Western Conference Finals, I think that is definitely a failure for them. This season, they're better than last season. So, like, last season, you know, like, them not making it to the Western Conference Finals, you just got wrecked by Luka in the first round or second round. Fine. This year, though, I think they need to at least make the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they need to make the NBA Finals this year. For like, if people are gonna think that, like, oh wow, like if they don't make the NBA Finals, then it's like a serious failure. I'm not there yet for them. I mean, I still think that team still has so much time in terms of like their window where, you know, they don't have to trade anybody away, and guys are still on some pretty relatively cheap deals. You still have Isaiah Hartenstein moving forward. Like, I think they have time. But I definitely think they got at least make the Western Conference Finals. At that point, you know, whoever their matchup is, anything could happen. I think the West is that good. But I do think I have them favored. I have them favored winning this year. So I think they're going to win the finals this year. If they don't at least make it to the Western Conference Finals, though, that is by far a really, really rough overall season, bro. Because that means then at that point, then I'm looking at Shea and I'm just like, okay, like this is now 2 years in a row where you've underperformed to expectations in the playoffs. Or maybe you haven't necessarily underperformed, but like the rest of your team is underperforming. So is it Shea? Is it the rest of the team? Is it just they're not ready? Like, I don't know. Do we need to start looking at Daignault, which I don't think we ever should? At least for now, right? Like, I think Daignault has like the coldest seat, you know, in the league right now in terms of, you know, he has the best job security as a head coach probably at the moment besides Billy Donovan. But if they don't make it to the Western Conference Finals, bro, I think it's a pretty serious F up for them. That'd be horrible. Congrats to the Bulls for having a winning road record 21-20. If they're been nice to have an overall record over 500, but home losses cost them that. I mean, yeah, for sure. The Bulls were at one point a horrifically bad home team. So the fact that they even got close to 500 at home is kind of crazy. At one point they were 10 games under. So it's kind of shocking to see that they even got to this number, but you know, I personally, like I said all season long, I would have liked to have seen the less wins to give yourself a better chance in the lottery, but yeah, it is what it is. Have you any playoff predictions? I have a little bit, Noel, yeah. My team coming out of the East is Boston. My team coming out of the West is Oklahoma City. I have OKC winning the finals. I have been consistently saying I think the New York Knicks are frauds. It's not necessarily about their overall talent. It's just the fact that I think Tiz has played them to the ground already. And so I don't think the New York Knicks have enough to work with in the playoffs. So I think the Pistons beat the Knicks in the first round. I've also said I think the Pacers win against the Bucks, even though they have Giannis, but Bucks don't have Lillard. out west, bro, I think Golden State beats Memphis in the first play-in game. I really want to see Golden State face Houston. I think the stylistic differences would be awesome just to witness. To see those two teams face against each other, I think would be awesome. So I am really hoping that Golden State wins the play-in game against Memphis here, but Memphis could win that. And then whoever faces Oklahoma City is just death. But I think that 2 through 7, I mean, I don't know who's gonna be winning those matchups, honestly. I think the Clippers can beat Denver, I think, with the way that Kawhi's looking and Harden's playing and Zubac is playing. So that's gonna be a very intriguing matchup for me. In terms of the Bulls and their stuff, I think the Bulls lose in their first game in the play-in. I think Orlando and Atlanta both make it through. I think Orlando beats the Hawks in the first round in the first game. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what's gonna happen though. But yeah, out west, bro, it is genuinely, I don't know. I'm just saying Oklahoma City for now. I really just don't know at this point. When it comes to any of these Western Conference teams, I feel like it might honestly just be like who's on the best streak, and heading into the playoffs, it's the Clippers. The Clippers on a great run heading into the playoffs, and they've jumped up to the 5 seed. So very doable. It's very doable for the Clippers. But it could honestly be anybody. It could genuinely be anybody. I think 2 through 7. I mean, I don't really know if I want to give any chances to whoever gets the 8 seed, but I guess there is a shot. If OKC just has a cataclysmic collapse, where you're just like, oh my god, they choked. But I don't know. I have a rough time seeing Oklahoma City losing the first round. After that, though, I think it's fair game. If Oklahoma City loses the second round, sure, could happen for me. I just don't know about the first round though. So yeah, any playoff predictions for you, Noel? My bold one is that I think the Pistons win the first round. That's my bold prediction. It's just like, I think it's the boldest of the bold. For me, is that I think Pistons win first round against the New York Knicks. That's like my biggest bold prediction. After that, I think unfortunately Pistons lose to the Celtics, but I really think that the Pistons are going to win that first round matchup. Not that bold. Knicks have been big all season. I mean, you and me, Navy Breeze, I know that you and I have been like on the same page about that. If you ask other people though, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? The Pistons have all these flaws. And I'm aware of their flaws. I think the Pistons definitely have some flaws. And the Knicks could definitely exploit them. I just really think that the Knicks, just the way that I've looked at their season and their kind of really rough start, and so then Tibbs has been playing the crap out of them. Mikal Bridges is Iron Man, and the fact that he even survived the season, I'm shocked. I really think that it's not gonna work for them. But maybe their downfall comes in the second round. Which, I mean, granted, like, I think the Celtics just win that anyway. But yeah, I really think the Pistons gonna win that series, which is, I know a lot of people that think that's nuts. I am just like, I really think it's gonna happen. So I can't wait to see if it does. Pistons are all the way ready, but they could take the Knicks, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, they're definitely not ready to contend. Like, Boston, Cleveland, I wouldn't be shocked if they get swept against those teams. If they end up facing the Celtics, which I think they will. But in terms of the Knicks, yeah, I think it's very doable. The Bulls will be my bold prediction. I think the Bulls will be playing the playoffs, not being biased. Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's pretty bold. Like, I really think that, like, having the 9 seed against these teams specifically, if the Bulls have the 8 seed, I think there's a very good shot they make it. But against the Magic and the Hawks specifically, I think it's very bold. I think it's a very bold prediction. I do like that though. I mean, guys, I don't want this to happen. I feel like it's gonna happen. Gotcha. I'm personally, I'm not feeling that yet, but hell, I've been wrong a lot this year. So, like I said it to many people, Noel, if you want to go bet that the Bulls are going to win, you should, because I've said I think the Bulls are going to lose the first game. So, I'm personally, I think it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna work out for them. But could be wrong. Was it one of the last 5 of the last 6 against Miami, Orlando, or Atlanta? It's incorrect against Atlanta. But let's see here. Yeah, 2 against, or sorry, well, Miami, and then here's Miami again. So Orlando, yes, and then let's see, 4. Did I miss it? I feel like I missed the Atlanta Hawks game. Okay, here's the Atlanta Hawks game. Yeah, so they lost in Atlanta here, but I mean, this is when Levine's still on the roster, so you know it is what it is, right? Yeah, I mean, had your bets. Bulls hitting their threes. I think there's a chance. I understand that thought process, Noel. It's just that, one, I think you could say like it's about every team, and 2, my whole thought process about this sort of game is that I don't think the Bulls are going to be playing as fast, because I really don't think that they're going to be getting as many transition opportunities like we've seen all season long. I think because it's going to be slower, I don't think they're going to get as many threes up. Therefore, I don't know how, like, you know, if they have like a not so great shooting night, like not shooting as many threes only hurts them. So I'll be very interested to see how it's going to work out. You know, all 3 teams combined. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Yeah. Where? I don't even. Nah, I mean, I guess it's wrong, but yeah, sure. I'll give it to you because again, like this is before Levine was gone. Did the Hawks with Jalen Johnson in the last matchup? I don't remember, honestly. Can I not just click on? Wait, what? There you go. No. I mean, how? Wow. This was off. I remember that this was the back-to-back for the Bulls. Second game of back-to-back. No one was making any shots. It was rough. This is a rough one. So. Our defense is on the same level either, to be fair. Our best defender is the rookie Matas. I mean, that is fair. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I think that there's a couple things where with the Bulls is like heading into these playing games, I'm like, again, Miami has just had the history of just beating us. Like, you know, it is what it is. But like even if let's say they beat Miami, it's just that you're gonna be on the road in a playoff type of atmosphere. And I look at Orlando's length, and that's gonna absolutely kill you in a slower type of game. And then I look at Atlanta when you don't have Trey Jones, you don't have Ayo Dosunmu against Atlanta, and no Lonzo Ball. Like, who's guarding Trae Young? So I really, that's kind of like my biggest 2 things. I'm just like, I don't think you win either of those games. You're on the road, which I know the Bulls have been better on the road this year, but you're on the road in a playoff type of atmosphere against either Orlando or Atlanta. Orlando has all the length against you, and they're bigger, and like offensive rebounds in the playoffs are killers. And I think Orlando's going to beat you there. And then against Atlanta, you don't have Ayo, you don't have Trey Jones, and you don't have Lonzo. So who the hell is guarding Trae Young? So it's just, I don't know. But that was one of the 2 games with under 10 3-pointers made. I'll get shooting that. Yeah. Back to back, we faced New Orleans the previous day, that was also a bad loss. So yeah. Well, or is it the only Terry Julius Phillips? I have them higher ahead of Buzelis. Ooh, really, Tyler? I think Matas Buzelis right now is by far the best defender on this Bulls team. I don't even know if it's close. Like, I won't just go off of raw stats, but Buzelis this season, okay? Buzelis had 75 blocks this season, right? He had 104 stocks alone, okay? Like, so it's not fair to go over about total. So like, again, 0.9 blocks per game, 0.4 steals, per 36 if you want to look at that. Like 1.8 blocks, 0.7 steals, okay? Dalen Terry, right? 0.6 steals, 0.2 blocks. It's unfair to look at this overall, right? But like, even in terms of per 36, Buzelis still wins in the stocks department. Julian Phillips is unfortunate. I think he's probably be even worse here. Yeah, I mean 0.5, so about a stock per game, and then it's worse here too. 38 steals and 20 blocks, so 58. So I really think that Buzelis is by far the best defender in this team right now. Don't know if that's a good thing. It's good that we have him moving forward, but for a one-off game, I don't think that helps you. That was good, but he was coming off the bench and he was mostly playing with inferior competition. I would even say that I think Dalen Terry was better defensively than Julian Phillips this year. So I personally would not put Phillips in the conversation. I think he has potential, but if I had to choose a better defender, I'm picking DT. But even then, I still wouldn't put DT ahead of Buzelis. I think Buzelis is very clearly bona fide himself as the best defender on this Bulls roster. Excluding Lonzo Ball, obviously. We're excluding Lonzo in this situation. So yeah, I think that's kind of not great for the Bulls in this sort of specific type of game. He does a lot of effort, but not really translating a lot of. So yeah, the one thing that DT really did well was like when he was guarding like the smaller guards, so like he'll probably get Trae Young. Is that like he would pick him up half court and like he did a good job of working them. The problem is just that there were some just kind of gamble moments from him that were pretty bad. And he had some overall just not like great moments in like kind of as an overall game. And then if he didn't do well like on one play at offensive end, then it kind of worked against him on the other end a little bit. But if he's right, I mean, if he's hitting his 3-point shot on offense and you know bringing the energy defensively, then yeah, I think he's a pretty solid overall player. Yeah, my thing is though, it's just like I think he has to guard like guards that are smaller than him. I don't think he's a guy, even though he's 6'7", like I don't think he should be guarding any like the forwards. Whereas like I think Buzelis, like it's not. I'm not saying it's like an ideal matchup. Like I wouldn't put him against Trae Young, right? But I think that Buzelis has a chance to hold his own against someone like Trae Young, where I feel like DT has no chance against someone like Kevin Durant in a sense, or I guess a bigger sense of like I don't think DT has any sort of chance against like a Chet Holmgren, which you could argue is a center, but like he was playing power forward against the Bulls, and we saw Buzelis block Chet Holmgren 3 times against the Thunder. So, like that's just kind of the reason why I kind of just factor in like full out versatility. I'm like I think Buzelis takes that card. But yeah, that's just my opinion. And we're not including Lonzo. If Lonzo's a healthy, then Lonzo's by far the best defender on this roster currently. With the blocks and stuff, it catches our eyes, but he and Montes don't get lost as much. Right, but even with Montes getting that lost, he was still getting by far the most amount of blocks on his team. So like even if Montes had his moments of being lost, he still got that many blocks. So I personally think that still shows that he's better. It's not a knock on Buzelis, though. His defense caught me by surprise when he started getting those chase down blocks. I mean, fair, but like I said, like the fact that he still got 75 blocks and he's had moments of being lost on the court, I feel like that just shows that he's just a better defender. Like that means that even when in moments he wasn't locked in fully, he was still able to get the block. When DT and Julian Phillips aren't fully locked in, you see where they get lost, and you see the breakdowns defensively, the gamble or whatever, and nothing gets out of it, right? Like they don't have necessarily the full out length to like help and recover, but like or if you get lost and like full out recover, right? But Buzelis has that ability where it's like he might get lost, but like the fact that he's able to still recover is insane. Sorry, I thought my mic went out. I have a point there. I mean, that's just my opinion at the end of the day. I could be wrong here, and Buzelis might get absolutely cooked in these upcoming games here, but I would personally still choose Buzelis right now over those guys. Obviously, Patrick Williams is not part of this discussion for good reason. But yeah, I really think that Buzelis, with how well he played this year in limited minutes, I think he's the best defender. Perimeter-wise, you don't have Io, you don't have Lonzo, you don't have Trae Jones. So, like, you're missing your 3 best perimeter defenders by far. If you then obviously Dylan's there. So yeah, I really think that Giddy and White are gonna have to really show up defensively. Herder has had his like okay-ish moments defensively, but he really gets lost off ball, bro. Like the amount of times Kevin Herder gets lost off ball defensively is a lot. So I don't think that he's gonna have any sort of shot at guarding someone like Trae Young or like Dyson Daniels or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't really favor them in any sort of matchup personally, except maybe against Miami because we beat Miami so many times. But I really think Miami might have kept some stuff up their sleeve if they're actually going to try to win this game. So we'll see. I think I'm gonna go with history and say history repeats itself and Spoelstra wins against Billy Donovan again. If there's one thing that I'm probably gonna regret it, but like that's kind of like the one thing I'm just like, it's Spoelstra against Billy Donovan, and yes, there's less for Spoelstra to work with without Jimmy Butler, but I'm gonna choose Spoelstra at the end of the day. Don't bring Pat into this. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Pat is Pat's very, very, very disappointing, and I'm sorry to bring him up. We can contain Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. There's a good chance. Obviously in the last game, like you contained Duncan Robinson, and luckily Tyler Hero didn't hit that shot at the end there. But yeah, that is the game plan. But the other things I don't think people are realizing though is that like I think it's important for the Bulls to contain Wiggins. I'm not saying that Wiggins is going to be like some sort of hero or anything, but Wiggins has plenty of playoff experience, and if he like, I'm not saying that he's like a go-to scorer, but like he does a decent job of like seeking out mismatches, right? If he has a smaller guard against him, like him in the post is like not something to just like kind of scoff at. So like, yeah, you need to make sure you contain the two main shooters, but I really think that Wiggins is going to actually be like a pretty major threat here. So I'm kind of looking at that. Tyler Hero also has performed in the playoffs before, so I mean, there's that. Bam has plenty of playoff experience. So I know it's a one-off and anything can happen, but I think Billy's gonna, or I think Spoelstra is really gonna have some things up his sleeve, and I don't think we're gonna see the same defense that we saw against the game in Miami against Miami in the third to last game of the season. I don't think we're gonna see that same defense. I think Miami's gonna bust out a zone that is gonna be completely different than what we saw in that game in the last game against Miami, and I think we're gonna really see Miami's versatility on full display. So Spoelstra is very smart, and you could say that like in Spoelstra's head, the Bulls won that battle, but did they win the war? That's kind of where I'm just like. That's kind of where I'm just like, bro, I don't like if the Heat were genuinely thinking about the war, then they held strats and they're all in on this game coming up here. Don't know if they are, again, like they might actively be tanking or intentionally trying to lose this game to keep their pick because it's lottery protected, but I don't know what their plan is. So usually Miami's all about just trying to win, like even if they have like pick things on the line, like they typically try to win. So I'm personally expecting that. A Terry Rozier contract is certainly something. Yeah, it definitely is. I think Terry Rozier might genuinely be looked into as like someone that is like I know he already has like that betting stuff against them right now of like the investigation. He might genuinely actually be doing that. Like he's been awful. Did they play zone? I think the Heat did bust out a zone. I have to look back at that game. I think they busted out a 2-3. But I think it's gonna be different though. Like I think the next time they play the zone is gonna be different. It's not gonna be that same zone. I just remember the Bulls were like killing them in the corners. Like it very clearly seemed like the guys in the corner of the zone, the 2-3, they didn't know where to go. And so like the Bulls were doing a good job of like getting the ball in the middle of the floor and then like collapsing that part of the zone, and then they throw it to the corner or get a back cut from the corner. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think Spoelstra is very, very smart when it comes to his zone defenses. He's going to bust out something that's going to be completely different than the Bulls have never seen. Might be like a triangle and 2. It might be a box and 1. Who knows? So Chloe Robinson is hot. Like the last game, I mean, yeah, that's priority number one for the Bulls. But yeah, it's a one-off, right? Like Duncan Robinson can be hot for one game, and in a 7-game series doesn't really matter too much. But if it's a one-off, right? Like, you know, if he scores 27, tries on, yeah, they're probably gonna force Giddey to shoot. That's definitely gonna be the plan. But I think the biggest thing that they're gonna be doing is that they're gonna try to limit the Bulls' penetration, because the Bulls' entire season has been drive and kick, right? Drive and kick, drive and kick, drive and kick. I think what you're gonna see though is that you're gonna see them really limit the Bulls' penetration. And so it's either you're gonna see them let guys get into like the middle of the paint, but then they're gonna stop them like around the free throw line, or you're gonna see them heavily be protecting the top of the key and forcing guys to drive baseline instead, and use the baseline as an extra defender for them. So you're gonna be seeing them try to slow down the pace, which is what AV Breeze has been talking about, right? Like Spoelstra did say, like, it's hard to put the game plan against pace, right? So game plan number one is you got to make your shots on offense to slow down the Bulls' pace. But then game plan number two is that if you're able to slow down the dribble penetration from the Bulls, that slows down their pace. Therefore, then you're going to be trying to force the Bulls to swing on a perimeter to find openings. And so if you're able to stop the Bulls around the free throw line, or stop the Bulls from driving it from the top of the key and force the Bulls to drive baseline and give them less options, then I think it's going to put the Bulls in a rougher spot. That's I think it's going to be the game plan for Spoelstra. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what the game plan fully means and what's going to be busted out in terms of defenses. And, you know, are we going to see Bam Adebayo and Josh Giddey again, or are we going to see Bam Adebayo go back to playing like just kind of like the free safety forward and be like a help defender? Not sure, honestly, but I'm going to be heavily interested to see what they do. Because if they're genuinely trying to win this game, which I don't know, but if they are genuinely trying to win this game, they're going to be better than what we saw in that previous one. If he said that, then there's a good chance he has a plan. I mean, yeah, I think Spoelstra always has a plan. I think you're overestimating Spell, underestimating the Bulls / Billy a bit, honestly. I mean, sure, you can have that opinion, but as much as I want to say that, yeah, I think that this Bulls team is going to continue showing that this sort of success moving forward, and also into this sort of game. I personally, I'm still not on board with that. Like, we're talking about like heading into next season, and like we don't make any moves. Like, it's the same team. We bring back Vooch and everything. This team is not, at least in my opinion, this team is not going to continue this 12-4 in March or whatever the fucking like the record was in March. But like, heading like that this sort of streak from the Bulls, where we're talking from March into April. I'm sorry, I'm not believing it's going to be that successful. Like, I think that's where Bulls fans are kind of getting ahead of themselves. It's like, oh, see, we could be anybody. We're like one of the best teams in like the last like 21 games. And I'm like, okay, well, let's put it this way. I don't think you're going to be that good, all right? Maybe you're instead around 500 or below 500, at least in my estimations. You're still below 500. For an entire 82-game season, I still think you're below 500. Maybe not way below 500, but I still think you're below 500. If that's my estimation of that team, okay, a below 500 team, 4 or 5 games under 500, hence what they ended with, but still, I still think you're around there. Do you expect that team to win against the Miami Heat, who, yes, are also around that same area? But to me, it's a very evenly type of match, and I trust one coach more than the other. Therefore, hence, I'm trusting Spoelstra. Last couple of wins have been comebacks in a way the Bulls that doesn't feel fluky. I think the Bulls can win even if the Heat aren't tanking well. Well, okay, first and foremost, again, the Lakers win was a fluke. Like, that comeback win against the Lakers, that's an absolute fluke of a win, all right? As much as people don't want to admit that, you made 11, or was it 15? I don't know what it was, but you shot 15 and 19 from the field, you made 11 threes in the quarter, and you made a freaking half-court shot from Josh Giddey, okay? That's a fluke. I'm sorry. That's a straight-up fluke win. So if you're going to be counting that as a comeback win, as like, that's not fluky, that's a fluke win. That is by far a fluke win. Now, the Miami game, I do agree. I think that was a legitimate win where the Bulls looked like, hey, we're going to come out and we're going to we're gonna make sure we keep up the pace, and we're gonna outrun this Miami team to the ground. And then we saw the Bulls where the Heat were continuously getting their paint points, but we saw the Bulls eventually start to outshoot them and play with better pace than them, right? Now, the Heat stayed in the game. Like, bro, as much as people, like, I know Tyler had this whole argument with me about this, but like the Bulls, yes, they were around up by 10 for a good portion of that second half. But if Tyler Hero hits that shot, that's a 2-point game. Or whatever, maybe it was a 3-point game, whatever it was. But like, that's a 2-point game, okay? I don't care what you have to say, but like, you're not in control of the game if it's a 5-point game and it's less than a minute left to go. Like, you're not in full control, okay? So I look at that as like, yeah, you came back in that one. It was a very nice second quarter from you, but the Heat kept up with you for 3 quarters in that game. And the Bulls defense didn't look that spectacular in that one. I think the Heat missed some shots they should have made. And it was that second quarter for the Bulls where it really, it turned everything around for them, right? Especially in that like the last little chunk of that second quarter. So personally, again, I look at that and I'm like, I think Spoelstra's better as a coach. And I look at this and I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to really see who Billy Donovan is as a coach in terms of like, all right, are you going to be this better of a coach that we have been hoping that you sort of become soon? Or is this just kind of like a fluke here where you're playing super duper well recently and it's partially due to your overall game plan of like, yeah, we're going to continuously push pace. We have better overall stamina than the other teams, and we're going to play fast and try to get as many efficient shots as possible, shoot as many threes as possible, and win via that. The only thing is, like I said, you're gonna not, I don't know if you're gonna be able to do that in this sort of game. Like, are you gonna be able to still keep your identity in this game? That's my biggest question. And the Bulls, no matter what, have always seemed to, in these matches with Billy Donovan as coach, remind you, okay, I feel like people just keep forgetting this, but Billy Donovan as coach, he seems to just kind of go away with what we saw was kind of working throughout the season in these sort of playing games. I'm aware it's a different team now, but we would see that like in the middle of these playing games where it's just like it's heavy DeRozan stuff, heavy post up Vooch, and the pick and roll defense suddenly switches where they're trying to like do a blitz defense when, you know, they've run a drop all season long. Like, this is kind of where I'm just like, what is Billy push? And are the Bulls going to keep their identity here throughout this entire game? Spoelstra, instead, though, through these games, he has pushed the right buttons. He has continuously made sure that this team is in the best position possible. And he's come out with a defensive game plan against the Bulls that is by far better than what Billy has ever done. So I personally don't think that I'm underestimating Spoelstra. Now, I could be underestimating the Miami Heat players themselves. That's fine if you really think that. But in terms of underestimating Spoelstra himself, I don't think I'm underestimating him at all. Like, I really look at Spoelstra and I'm like, this guy has been an incredible coach throughout his entire career. And specifically against the Bulls, he has done a fantastic job with his game plans. So I don't think it's by any means underestimating what Spoelstra can do. Underestimating the Miami Heat? Sure. Maybe I'm underestimating the Miami Heat themselves overall as a team. Because, yes, they don't have Jimmy Butler anymore. But what Spoelstra has done game plan wise, he is by far not, I don't think I'm underestimating him at all. Like, if you're the Bulls and you're not thinking this way, the way I'm thinking right now, then you're underestimating him, at least in my opinion. Like, if you think that I'm overestimating him, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're the Bulls, you should be thinking this way if you want to go out and win this game. Like, you should be thinking that Spoelstra's gonna be coming out with this insane, like, defensive strat that was not expected. Because that's what Spoelstra does. He comes out and completely shocks you with defensive decisions that you're like, oh, I was not expecting that. Like, he put Bam Adebayo and DeMar DeRozan in the last one, and it absolutely destroyed the Bulls' offense. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, at least maybe I should have expected it, but I wasn't expecting that one. So that's the reason why I'm like, I'm not underestimating this guy. This guy's an absolute genius when he actually is coaching hard. So if you're just gonna sit here and be like, no, we got it, like we're just better, like, you're losing this game. I promise you that. I know it's like 8-2 and something in the last 10 versus the Heat. Okay, so the Bulls, reminder, they won the opening day in 2022-23 without Zach LaVine playing. DeMar DeRozan had a fantastic game. How did that one end up, right? Like, I don't care what the regular season record is. I just don't. Like, I'm sorry. And remind you, once again, we've lost the last two playing games against the Heat. I'm just saying I don't think it's accurate to frame it as either the Heat win or they're tanking. That's all. Wait, I didn't say that though. I said that I think the Heat are going to win, right? If they're not actively tanking, right? But that means the Bulls could win. I'm personally just picking the Heat. Like, wait, hold on, wait. That's insane if you got it that way for me. I apologize if I messed up my wording. If the Heat are tanking, then obviously the Bulls are going to be winning this one, right? But if the Heat aren't tanking, then I'm choosing the Heat. I think the Heat win this one. I really think the Heat are going to be winning this one. But just because I think that, like, I think the Detroit Pistons are winning that New York Knicks series. That does not mean that the Detroit Pistons will for sure win that Knicks series. That does not mean that they're 1,000,000% going to win it. Okay, that's not. I didn't say that. I'm personally just picking that. So hence again, I am just saying I am picking the Miami Heat to win this game. I did not say that it's a for sure win. If the Heat are actively going to be playing hard, it's a for sure win for Miami. I never said that. I'm just personally saying that if the Heat are actively trying, then I am personally picking the Heat because I think it's going to be a Spoelstra masterclass, and I don't trust Billy. So that's where I'm looking at right now. Because I'm actually like I'm genuinely curious about this question here for you guys. When was the last time that you think that the Bulls had a lot going against them in a game? Like, genuinely. Like, when was the last time it felt like the Bulls where it was just like, oh my god, like nothing's going right for us, and like throughout like most of the game, it's just like we're not hitting our usual shots. Our pace is not usually where it's at. Our defensive intensity isn't where it's at. Like, when was the last time that's happened? Where it's like the Bulls have like certain moments throughout the game where you expect them to like push tempo and get their points that they're looking for, right? But when was the last time that's happened? Like, I'm gonna say it was probably like the Dallas game, like where that L where it was just like, what the hell was that L? Where no one came to play, everyone sucked in that one. Guys were missing shots left and right. Guys were missing gimmies at the basket. Like, Giddey had an awful game. Like, that was probably the last time the Bulls had like a pretty like substantial L where it was just like, okay, what the hell was this? Like, this was nothing that we've seen. Everything was going wrong for them. It seemed like every little moment where it seemed like the Bulls should be getting back into it, they didn't take the opportunity. So my point into that is just like, I don't know when this last time this Bulls team I felt like has played against like severe like, oh, we don't have our A game tonight, but we come out and we still try to get the win. Like, we actively are like, oh, we still get the win in this one, even though like we don't have our best game tonight. So that's why what I'm saying is just like, in a one-off, right? If you just don't have that A game and the Bulls, you know, if they come out, they don't have it. Like, do they have it in them to still find a way to get the win? I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm like, once again, playoff experience does matter in terms of this sort of situation. Spoelstra is Spoelstra, Bam, you know, Wiggins, Hero, they all have it, right? So I really think that's going to be interesting. But the other part about it is just that I look at those sort of scorers and I'm like, who am I going to be choosing to like specifically win some of these sort of individual matchups of like Kobe versus Hero, or if it's Bam versus Vucevic, right? Like, we don't know, right? It's I don't think it's like as sure shot as a win as some Bulls fans are thinking. I'm like, I think Hero could definitely outplay Kobe, right? And I think Bam could definitely outplay Vucevic. And so then that leaves, you know, I guess Wiggins versus Giddey, right? And who knows, right? So the Bulls, I feel like, though, they really need to bring their A game, because I feel like with the way that they played against Miami in this one, the one that have showed up here, I don't know if they win it in a play-in type of scenario. Because reminder, I mean, again, look, like the Heat were here. The Heat got outscored by 2 for quarters 1, 3, and 4 in this game. Okay, that it only got outscored by 2, right? The big quarter was the second quarter where the Heat couldn't make a 3, and the Bulls put up a pretty good defensive quarter overall. But the Heat still got a bunch of pain points, but it still was 11-point quarter for the Bulls, right? But for the rest of this game, sorry, actually, no, my math is wrong. Actually, the Heat outscored the Bulls for the rest of this game. So that's kind of where I'm just like, is this going to be just relying on like a 1-quarter push for the Bulls? Like, I hope that's not the case for them. They gotta bring their A game throughout this entire game, because like I said, like if this is gonna happen again, I don't think you win it. But do the Heat actually want to win this game? Who knows? I don't know if the Heat actually want to win this one. So we'll find out on Wednesday. Speaking of which, though, Wednesday, April 16th, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, ESPN game. Okay, so all the people that have the antenna in Chicago Sports Network is garbage. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that. It is a ESPN game, so hopefully you have cable or some sort of cable package or streaming service. So ESPN does have the game at the United Center. Luckily, it's 6:30 p.m. Thank God. I would not be happy if it was a later game. I'd be very annoyed. So gladly, it is not the 9 o'clock game for us. So 9 p.m. Central Time is gonna be post game for this one. We'll see how this was gonna go for the Bulls. Again, I think Heat win this, but it matters if they're actually gonna be trying or not. So we'll see if that does happen. Did you give a prediction for the West 7-8 game? I did. I said I think Warriors win it. But again, Memphis could definitely win that one. I think that one is a very 50-50. I think that one is definitely a 55-45 for the Warriors, but it's pretty close. Memphis could steal that. We've seen Memphis go into Golden State and win a playing game in Golden State. So very doable for either team. I think Golden State wins that though, because Steph looks pretty good and Jimmy might be the X factor for them, honestly. All right. Once again, if you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please still helps me out a lot. Want to say big thank you to you guys all season long. This has been an awesome year. By far, I think the best year on the channel. We hit 1,000 subscribers before the start of the season, and then we've continued to grow from there. So I sincerely do appreciate everything this year. It's been an incredible year, and I have only you guys to thank. You guys are the reason why this has been an incredible season. It's been an incredible year of just growth on the channel, but the biggest thing I think, in my opinion, is that we've had great discussions all season long. And so I sincerely do appreciate that. I think for the most part, except for a few kind of comments here and there, I think we've all really kept things respectful. And I sincerely appreciate that as well. I hope that people understand that this is a welcoming community, and everyone, every person, whether, even if you're not a Bulls fan, like, you're welcome here to come in and discuss your opinion. So I want to say thank you to you guys for helping create that sort of atmosphere. That's something that I truly do value. And I hope that you guys were able to feel that in this sort of stream, in these streams throughout the year. So thank you guys a lot for that. It truly does mean a lot to me that we upheld that standard. Even if I didn't really even talk about it like fully, it was kind of like a standard upheld throughout the season. I sincerely do appreciate that. Post-game streams were a lot of fun this year. I sincerely enjoyed every single one. I'm sorry I missed the last 2 games of the season, but unexpected things happen. So thank you guys a lot for just being patient with me. I know I did have to take a break here and there. My back kind of messed me up in the middle, like near the All-Star break. So thank you guys so much for being patient with me, but I hope that you guys enjoyed the streams. This was a fantastic season. I have had a ton of fun with all the streams. So thank you guys so much once again. I'm sorry about the lack of videos. I only made about 1 video, I think, throughout the year. But don't worry, videos are coming in the off season, and there will be some streams during the off season. So I promise you that at least for one of the draft days, I don't know which day it's going to be, but there will be a stream on one of the draft days, as a reminder that the NBA draft is now 2 days. The first and second round are 2 different days now. So at least one of those days will be a watch party. So be ready for that. And I'll probably be hopping in here and there throughout the playoffs to do a stream with you guys to talk about the playoffs, and then also talk about some upcoming draft picks for the Bulls, right? Because we have not really talked about that on this channel, because I don't really know too much still. I haven't done my scouting, so I'm going to be getting to that now that we'll see when the Bull season does end. It might not end on Wednesday. It could honestly end, in May. So we'll see here. But whenever the bowl season does end, we'll be doing those types of streams where we just kind of talk about like draft prospects, etc., and wherever the Bulls are projected to land in the draft. So we'll talk about that. Before I do go ahead and send you guys off, though, couple things. One, I do want you guys, if you have not already, I know that this app is treacherous, and Elon has been an absolute piece of shit, and God, I hope I don't get killed for just saying that. But please, here is my Twitter. My DMs are open. I know I haven't really responded in recent time. I have been kind of off that app a little bit for a while because it's rough on there, I won't lie. But if you are interested in following me on Twitter, that is my Twitter link. Also, I did promise you guys this, and I promise you it is coming here. I will be posting this in the announcement tab here on my channel when I do decide to first boot this up. But this is going to be my Twitch channel for kind of some gaming stuff for the off season. So I do plan on having some streams that is just gonna be like some either it could be gaming or it could be some other stuff. And I'm gonna have some more details for you later. So if you want to go ahead and follow this channel on Twitch, that's gonna be the channel where I'm gonna be doing some of the gaming stuff. And I have some things planned already. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun if you decide to hop into one of those streams. And again, I'll be posting anytime that I decide to do any of the Twitch streams on this channel here. I'll be posting a link to on the community post. So be on the lookout for that. I am also in the midst of working on a couple of things when it comes to like a Discord server. So we might start doing that for just kind of in general for like Bulls, and then also for other stuff. So let me know kind of some ideas if you have any ideas. I'm always open to ideas, but I think I'm gonna start kind of working on that. It's kind of new to me, but I'm interested in doing that sort of stuff. So we can kind of have a nice little hangout spot that's not always on stream, and away from the Twitter world, etc. So hope you guys are looking forward to some of the upcoming stuff here. There is always NBA stuff going on, even if the season is officially over. And obviously we have a post game on Wednesday night, so I'll be here on Wednesday. But it's been a lot of fun all season long, and the content and the overall fun is not gonna stop here. So I hope you guys are gonna be looking forward to the off season, because I'm personally looking forward to the off season. And obviously the playoffs are the most important thing right now, which is I'm very much looking forward to the postseason, and I'll be here to discuss it with you guys. So once again, just a big thank you to all you guys. I hope you guys truly understand how much I appreciate y'all. This has been something that it's been in the works for a long time. I've done streams before, post-game streams, but I've not really completed a season, and I've officially completed my first season as a Bulls YouTuber or Bulls streamer. So it's been a pretty big accomplishment for me, and I'm pretty proud of it. So thank you guys a lot for that. It's been a lot of fun, and it's only you guys that deserve all the appreciation. Like, you guys deserve it all. It's not possible without you. I streamed some 2K with Matas and Zoe today if you want some gaming stream inspiration. Yeah, so like I promised you, I know I've been teasing this a lot, and I've already done it once on this channel, and I might do it again on this channel if I want to. But yes, so there will be some 2K streams on that Twitch channel. I promise you that. Biggest one though is this one. I know that it's 2K13, but I do have a 99 overall my player on this game, and I want to play it again. So be on the lookout for that. It's a lot of fun, honestly, when you can just have a god in the server, which I feel like you just can't do that anymore in 2K, but I understand why. But yeah, there's other things that I plan, so be on the lookout for some fun Twitch stuff, and hopefully that's gonna be a fun experience. But can't reveal everything just yet. So yeah, hopefully it's gonna work out. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I sincerely do appreciate it. And yeah, always seeing you guys on Wednesday. All right, once again, thank you for the best overall season ever on this channel. Thank you for being with me all season long. I sincerely do appreciate it. I hope you guys understand that. I'm not the best at expressing my emotions, but I hope that you do understand how much I do appreciate this year. It's been a lot of fun this year, and bro, I promise you I could not have done this year without you guys on this channel. Like, seeing you guys, no matter what, hop in for every post-game stream, it means a lot. And to see that, it shows not only like, hey, what you're doing here is cool, but it also just shows like, hey, there's still at least there are still some good Bulls fans that are still interested in this team, even though this team is just like, I don't know where the hell it's going, bro. But it still shows like, hey, there's still Bulls fans that are out here that are still diehard Bulls fans. Which I know that there's always gonna be diehard Bulls fans, but it's just like, I've talked to a lot of people recently about how much they just don't care about this team anymore, and it's just like, I hate the fact that we're here because, God Almighty, the Reinsdorf suck, and we're the third largest market in America. But I want this team. I still want this fan base to live on, man. This fan base deserves good basketball, but it also just deserves good content. And to see that, I feel like that there has been some, loss in terms of like Bulls fans recently has been kind of depressing. I know that the numbers came out, like the Bulls had like the 5th most sold jerseys, but like, I'm talking about like the diehard Bulls fans, like someone like me, you guys in chat, other people that just want to talk Bulls basketball on a daily basis. And I hope to still bring that and to still help create that for people. So thank you guys again. That's the sort of atmosphere I want here, and we've, I think, accomplished that for the first ever season entirely. So it means a ton, and I can't appreciate it enough. All man, you helped me enjoy Bulls ball again. I appreciate it. Yeah, glad the channel exists. Say thank you, Tyler. I mean, I don't know, Tyler, I don't know if you were here before this season, but I mean, you're a big addition this year. Names I recognize, right? So sincerely, I do appreciate it. Every single person is a part of this, and it's not just about like just me, the person on the camera. It's all you guys. So thank you. Yeah, thank you a lot. All right, y'all. That's gonna do it for me though for the season. Bulls play on Wednesday for the playing game. I'll be seeing you guys on Wednesday. All right. Hope you guys see you at 9 p.m. Central Time on this channel. All right, y'all. Been a fun season. I'll be here for the next one, obviously, and here for the off season. Peace out, y'all. See you Wednesday.